the start, but push through again from Nini. The timing there had to be spot on, and he got it done. A goal on the board, the lead most importantly now for Niwa.
Brilliant stuff from Niwa again, and Suzuki going to pop a hypercharge of his own to try and take back this lane from Creo. Misses the gadget though, no pinch there sadly. Super comes in now and actually misses that entire hypercharge, and Creo will block that super well. Stampo coming in with the hypercharge, but gets knocked back by Cookie, who is burned down by the heat ejector. Levi trying to stop this, but don't believe there's much help. I take it back just about. The shot comes through eventually, but I thought he was going to stop that then. Bringing it back to 1-1. Niwa bouncing back so well.
Yeah, it's definitely a question mark there at the moment, but it was a bit of body blocking, but actually kind of served the utility of the chest to get this done. That could have gone wrong. Normally that would be the ideal kind of play to make, but just obviously just very, very close there to getting super anyway, and almost defense. But this is what I'm saying about Niwa. They are giving as good as they're getting, and I think the comp can work, and they're staying on their feet the majority of the time. I would say they're getting more takedowns than Zeta, more trades as well. And this Buster, again, is proving to be a real problem. That additional speed from the speed gear as well, as already a pretty mobile brawler going forwards, and they just keep getting caught off guard. See again, Levi on the left-hand side gets the connection, but we're going to survive, leaving an opening there for Nini, but this time it won't avail to a goal.
Really nice play from them once more. Seems to be heavily in control of this match, and a hypercharge already available for Creo. Subs Champo going forwards, getting pinched in so heavily though, and puts himself in a tough position. Cookie will use a super there. I'm not sure if it was necessary, but didn't get too much value from the gotcha gadget and forced to heal up the normal way. Creo pushing forwards, hypercharge in hand, goes for the slow-mo replay, and lovely pull back again. Suzuki cleans up on Creo, and they've just fallen apart. All three of them go down, and a Pash Champo should result in a goal, and I thought that was going the complete opposite way.
Well, again, for a team like Zeta, to be looking like they've met their match, actually, for me, that's a much-needed goal to get themselves sort of back into the aggressive stance. But I wouldn't be at all surprised if this set could even go the way of Niwa. The way they're playing it, it's not out of the question here. But the aggressiveness coming forward there, Zeta now as well. Hambo's going to be able to get to the ball as well. And Niwa dropped the ball big time there. That set could have been theirs. And instead, Zeta steal it from their clutches.
Just leaving the ball in the complete wrong place. They kind of played it right onto the goal line when a Carl could go and get it freely, and then didn't actually consider it at all. Just chose to go for the kill rather than covering himself. A little bit of an unfortunate mistake there from Niwa, but I still think they're in a great position to get some sets here because they played that really well.
I do feel like it looked like Niwa had what it takes to turn things around. Now, Ark, what do you feel like were the key moments to turn the tide in this match? Why did Niwa win the second round? And then how did Zeta Division attempt in the third one to still take the set?
Actually, it was a great draft. I mean, like, we were talking and discussing about whether Mo was going to be effective coming in and, like, kind of where Mo sits now in terms of the meta. And I think Nini just made some really great plays. The Colette adaptation to the Frank as an answer, I think it was the right call to make. And Cookie was playing it really well. Unfortunately, there was a moment where he didn't necessarily get the best of results there, wasting super if they were able to defend it anyway there as well. But nonetheless, I think the Buster pick, you know, I mean, showing awareness to how the meta changed, that was almost an incredible defense, by the way, there from Levi. That would have been absolutely insane there. But I think that against a team like Zeta, you know, I think for what is fair to say an underdog here in Niwa, they tend to be less convincing. So I think there's I think there's the potential here to see some back and forth in this series.
We talked about it before, that maybe the underdogs in this match need to surprise their opponents. And I feel like in that second round, they really just had that element of surprise. They went all in with the Buster and Demo, and it somehow worked out. Zeta Division wasn't ready for it, just like other teams weren't ready for their Shade last month. They then learned though how to counter it, how to play against it, just control the Buster a bit more, and it worked out in round number 3 for them. So therefore, we are on 1-0 for Zeta Division, looking pretty convincingly, but it is a 2-1. So Niwa, another all-Korean team, looking very strong today.
Yeah, really good. I mean, again, just to reiterate, a team that have never escaped the quarterfinal stages of a monthly final. So, you know, if they were able to do the unthinkable here today, against Zeta Division, of all teams, you know, as their first semi-finals appearance, it'd be insane. But again, I don't think it's likely to happen, but I'm all for it to happen, as again, it would, you know, definitely have a knock-on effect here for the road to the Brawl Cup. I mean, we know that Navi are waiting on the sidelines to see, you know, an upset in these, like, you know, matches 3 3 and 4 of the quarterfinals. So let's see. Bands are in for bridge too far. Daryl, the Chuck, most importantly, I would say there, and the Melody definitely up there, as well as the Angelo, the Lumi, which I don't think we're going to see much of, if any of today. Definitely for me now, a new champion of the meta, by far the best brawler in the game. Eve coming in as the first pick brawler for Zeta Division, which makes some sense. You know, you've got the Angelo band out, so some ability in that middle area is not going to be a bad thing at all. But certainly Shade actually is not out of the question here. I've got to be honest. I mean, if played well, that's the thing. There's the ability to cross through the lanes here. So depending on the draft, it's a potential. I'm not saying it's a likely prospect, but if any team's going to pick it, you know it's going to be Zeta.
So yeah, basically what you're saying here, you want to have some brawlers that can cross the water. Juju is one of those as well. I was just waiting for that pick. As you mentioned, Jade would also be one of these. I think it would be a great pick up here as well. Could work out, even though it doesn't have the most range. Just heading over the water, have more space to dodge, is going to help those two brawlers that we have so far in the map so much. Now, we still need some damage though. I feel like we have seen a lot of Lola, Bell as the counter to that. I do think those two could still show up in this draft here, Trev.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of possibility for Niwa to take them by surprise. Lola gonna come on in and that's because add some DPS to that side, and you said it seems to be lacking that, so good work for them to get this here in. But I still feel like there's some good counters still left on the table to the Lola. We've seen this region really championing Bell, and that's a very good show against the Lola. Amber used to be used a fair amount on this map, but not so much more recently, I would say. So we'll see what Zeta Division do choose to go into these two roles. Carl coming on in, and honestly, no surprise there again.
Yeah, very solid from Zeta there. And again, in this kind of mode, yeah, they kind of had to. I mean, it plays so well against the Lola that if they'd left it open, would have been maybe a bit more of a disadvantage in that regard. Definitely a very control-based combo, I would say, from Zeta, which is definitely a scary prospect for New World to have to consider here. But certainly Lola's going to have a good time on those lane sides. They could also have an 8-bit. It would be the craziest of things to really overthrow the safe, or something to even break through the mid if they want to have something of a more strategic approach here. But I think the best thing would be to keep them down. Hyper into Eve. I mean, that is quite bold. Has the ability to break, but I would suggest that they probably don't. It allows the Juju to have a bit more effectiveness. But I mean, certainly Piper does not play well into Eve. You know, I know, but it can work out pretty well. It's definitely not a bad brawler on this map. It's been one of the top 5 for me for many a time on this map. It's just about looking ahead. You know, you've got Carl. You know, if you haven't got super, or you know, you're not running the auto-aim gadget, or you haven't got that gadget ready for the cooldown, then contending against the Carl is not going to be an easy thing at all either. So you are clearly feel really confident in this brawler pick, and it's not a bad brawler for this map. It's just about whether in the draft it makes sense.
Yeah, tough to reclaim a lane from a Carl, that's the thing, and there's 2 of them there as well, so he should be able to slice through them pretty well. And we do see a takedown on the left and a takedown on the right, and it is 2v2 now. Nene in a pretty tough position here, as he is only a 140, and Levi will pick up Cookie on that left-hand side. So in a good position now as Shampoo gets around this left-hand side. And the pinch coming in from Nene will be an issue, but the flying hook being used and protective pirouette goes in, but doesn't come out.
Big taps there from Creo, and continuously so now the Juju giving the Gree out to the map and causing some problems for Suzuku. Just allows Suzuku on the left-hand side to really close the gap as well. Then they're coming forwards. That slow, if it connects to a brawler, that slow to be devastating as well. Couldn't find something of it, but definitely Zeta didn't take their chances. Now the Carl coming in. Yeah, let's see how Creo can handle this one. Very difficult to contend with there, and that's my only reservation for it. On defense, he was tapping and gets some great results, but as the aggressiveness of Zeta starts to prevail, how is this brawler pick going to work on defense?
It's going to be real tough, especially Shampoo's got this flying hook, and you know there's not a limited amount of uses to it now, so it can just continuously go in. Hypercharge on the safe is going to do a lot of damage. Great spin by Shampoo, even gets a shot there as well onto the Piper. Hypercharge available for Levi now too. Might choose to wait for the next time he spawns, but we do see Creo not finish him off. And still a decent amount of damage done by Niwa, but nowhere near as much as Zeta.
I haven't seen an auto-aim gadget yet for defense against these brawlers here on the Piper pick, so I'm looking out to see whether he's definitely running it for sure. Hypercharge, hatchlings now coming in, and as again, you know, Eve is just been elevated since that Hypercharge coming in. That addition is so valuable. As Zeta Division continuously getting some damage, and Niwa going to be going onto the safe, getting some of their own, but Meanwhile, there is still a brawl for Zeta on the safe. They're not really doing anything about now. Tampa, that very person has to come back. Low HP as Korea was tapping away there, but definitely quite a close game nonetheless. Zeta now, though, going to get more damage, and this could be the final blow.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be here. Great damage from Suzuku coming in. Shampoo will join him on the safe. That's going to be another game to Zeta Vision. A good amount of pushback at the start from Niwa, but just nowhere near towards the end. Once the car got the positioning against the Piper and no one kind of swapped lanes and helped, it became very difficult for Creo to do what he was doing at the start of the game and cleaning up on the defense so well. So Zeta played it well. Really no faults from that.
And it's clear for me that Korea is a very accomplished piper because the shots that he's landing are very good shots. He's not running auto-aimer. He's running homemade recipe as a gadget, which is a very odd choice against the Carl, who you kind of want to be able to defend against. They're going to be leaving Levi and Suzuki on the right-hand side here and opting to push the left-hand side, try to get some taps onto the safe. A breakaway there, but might have been better served onto the bushier area there from Korea as well. So a few question marks, I've got to say, in the minds of Niwa against a very tough matchup, no doubt about it, and what has been very close score lines. But the questioning around some of these decisions for me, is definitely present.
I mean, it seems like they're just completely trying to leave the Piper here, and Levi's going to move quite far on the map and just go for a base race. Lola should be falling here. Tampo will be able to pierce straight through that, but actually just focusing the damage instead of just cleaning him up and then going for it. Seems like a little bit of a mistake for me, but they are still in the lead, and Suzuki's still doing damage. Gets the kill there as well. Levi will clean up the mid. Eventually, Homemade Recipe does something as Creo cleans up from left to the back of the map. It is close, but a 22% lead for Zeta Division remains.
Yeah, and it just feels like, for me, Niwa just feel a bit stirred at the moment. Just a bit unsure of themselves. Few blunders. Nice position though from Nene going there straight in with a nice pitch there around the corner. Good stuff. There is the hook going in from Tambo. Again, huge taps from Creo. Some really, really accomplished play here from Niwa. It's just some of the decision making here and there, really, as Zeta continue to keep up the aggressiveness there. Nice takedown there of the Juju there from Levi. The Greek going to stay alive for a little bit longer. But it's this deficit that Niwa have not been able to break really now. About 22% in this scoreline. It's very, very tense in these final seconds.
Tampa could just keep that offensive presence on. It would have been done anyway, but he's going to swoop straight in and finish this one off, take the set for Zeta Division and make it 2-0. Niwa still, it's more of the same. They seem very much in it, but they just don't have that closing game that Zeta Division have. They're playing for the long game. Niwa just came out strong the majority of the time and then just couldn't uphold that kind of pressure for the most part.
It really looked like Niwa had what it takes once again, but it got more and more convincing here once again for Zeta Division. We just talked about it how last month they started on a 3-2-2, 3-1 in the semi-finals and then 3-0 in the finals, and we started on a 2-1 on Pinhole Pond. Bridge too far didn't really look like they wanted to give Niwa a chance to take that set. It looked very convincing. They had a great draft here as well. The Carl coming in once again, heat ejector, just so strong arc. You called it out a couple of times today already. You want a heat ejector nerf.
Oh, big time, yeah. I'm going to be straight on the phone to Adrian after this show. We actually had a bit of banter this week. We were talking about ranked as well. He wants me to carry him in ranked and said that if I don't carry him with Spen, that he's going to start to strong arm me around the balancings of esports and slide some in prior to a monthly final. So I've got to hold up my end here for the sake of the whole community. Of course, big banter. Adrian's a fantastic player in Brawl, but also a fantastic employee of Supercell. He knows the meta, he knows the balancings better than anyone, but certainly he'll probably be the first to agree that the heat ejector definitely a little bit overtuned. It'd be nice to kind of see some balancing from Carl, but nonetheless, I mean, we have seen, I would say, probably more flying hook today than heat ejector, actually. But again, it depends on the map, it depends on the mode, and certainly there makes a lot of sense with the amount of lake and rivers to be able to dance across to get onto the safe as well. You know, it makes Carl really versatile right now. He's definitely up there for me as a top 5 brawler.
It's surprising that sometimes this overpowered gadget doesn't even get picked up, but still by far Carl with the most damage onto safe. He did a phenomenal job on that, and now we're heading into set 3 already. Could already be the last match or the last game we see of those two teams here. Would be very sad because Niwa really had a great start for it. I do feel like they could maybe prolong this one into set 4.
I mean, I just feel like Niwa have had such an unlucky bracket, such an unlucky time when it comes to brackets in the first 3 monthly finals of the year. It's so tough on them, but you know, to be the best, you've got to beat the best. Zeta Division have proved multiple times they're the best in the world, but it's just so tough for them. But Zeta Division, they're here to win. They're here to try and get to the Brawl Cup to represent this East Asia region there. So So far, they're doing exactly what needs to be done. Start things off with quick 2-0, and they're going to look to finish this in 3.
Is it going to be another 3-0 here? We're going to find out after this set here. Janet is going to be picked up as first pick. No surprises that we see Jean and the Lumi band out here from the side of Niwa. The Carl, they do not want to see Zeta on this brawler once again. Makes also a lot of sense for me here. Now the Janet, she's been showing up quite often on Bounty, especially on layer cake here. Arc, why is that?
For me, the hypercharge is one of the biggest problems now with Janet. I mean, the accuracy which that brings to the table, especially on this map, it's ban-worthy. I'm surprised it's been left open here, but again, I think this is another brawler which we're going to be seeing quite a lot of this month. That's the first pick. Definitely a very, very worthy first pick in my opinion now, and Niwa didn't hesitate to pick it up. And if they are wanting to sit back a little bit in this matchup and just feed into that shielding, then the proximity, of course, is what is able to achieve that utility. It's not a bad shout to be able to go in for a push. The Janet, though, is definitely a scary brawler. I think as well, the drop of the base can really push your opposition to the corner and in an unwanted position of not being able to heal up when they are on the back line. So Juju going to combine with that as well. Makes some sense. Ideally, Buster wants to kind of like not play into many throwers, so to take one of the strongest and to have it on their side from Niwa means that if they were thinking about that particular brawler as a sort of deterrent, they now can't do so. Let's see what they want to follow up here, but so far I'm really liking what I'm seeing on both sides of the field.
Yeah, it seems like a pretty early Buster pick. Shade. Shade's going to come in. We've been asking for it. We've been asking for it pretty much all day from Zeta Vision to play this brawler, and they play it so well. But I'm saying it seems like a bit of an early pick for Buster. Zeta Vision still had a lot of time to be able to just choose a lot of things that can prevent Buster doing what he does best. Juju is an issue. It's always going to be an issue. One of the stronger brawlers in the game, and benefits of how much grass there is on this map to extend that range. Stu's going to come in. Should be able to kind of dance around a bit. If he gets his super, go really mobile into the Juju's face and stay in and out of that Buster's range and do a good job. So I like this from Zeta Division, but I'm not writing out Niwa because I like the first 2 brawlers they've got.
And Ollie is open here as well. There's definitely some options to combine with this. I'm not completely sold yet by the Shade, despite it being, again, the secret sauce last month. There's no denying that for Zeta. That was the brawler which really did the work. It brought them the victory and was there it is. I think that actually now is quite level, honestly. And we was speaking to Zeta prior to the show, and like as they said last month, no one had an answer for Shade. No one knew how to play against Shade. Well, I guarantee that every single region since last month has been looking at Shade as an opportunity and also an area of their scrims to really harness in on and look towards those counters, because it took us all by surprise and had all our eyes on it. So for Niwa, I'm hoping that they are also a team that have come prepared, as I think if you're playing Zeta, that's something that has to go through your preparation process, because you've got to expect it at this point.
Well, in we go. Tempo going to be playing on this right-hand lane against the Ollie, but just staying a little bit out of that range at the moment. Good stuff early on from Cookie, just peppering a few shots down on Suzuki and Levi. It's going to be tough for Suzuki to actually get his super when they're playing this defensively, but they have the lead, so they don't have to make a move.
Levi trying to push things from the mid away to the left. Cookie low here as well. Very low now after that shot from Suzuki, who's trying to pinch around. There's the additional ability to utilize the water there as well. Healing up. This playoff here between the Shade and the Ollie, just in the top of the screen, very top there as well, going down. But certainly both sides trying to chip away, and they've got their own little matchups here going on.
Yeah, good little placement from the Grigri there, and Suzuki coming round. Stampo might be able to clean up in the back here, and drop the base will prevent them from backing up for just a second. Now Stampo comes in, uses the super. Cookie should be falling, but Stampo will be traded out. It pretty much brings it a bit closer, but it is the blue star that still decides Zeta Division in the lead.
That was a scary position there, push the tempo for me personally. Nice take the skies from Levi there and find some good value for it. Actually, the Tampo gets Cookie taken care of. 7 stars to Zeta and the blue to the 3 there of Niwa, but now Tampo out of position and a pinch here shortly coming in down to 51 HP and now eradicated. 6 stars for Niwa. They're closing the gap. They're gaining confidence most importantly as well. And they've looked solid as a rock. I mean, a couple of moments here and there of some nerves and some misplays, but I mean, against Zeta Division, I mean, I think they're doing super well here today. I think the scoreline doesn't really do it justice.
Yeah, they're going to have to be very careful here, Zeta Division, in the closing seconds. 3 supers for Niwa, a hypercharge for Buster, and Ollie super still to come in. It's a dangerous prospect to be faced up against. Here comes the hypercharge from Kyo, but he misses the slow-mo replay. Nene's going to come in, not get the hypnotize, on him. Great kill, and it makes it 10-20, and he goes down last second. But Suzuki respawns and gets 4 back. Zeta Division are going to match point.
The ice of Zeta here today, as again, their Brawl Cup hopes really do depend upon their performance. So getting it right and having the best possible start is what's going to be able to be the catalyst for them. And they know it. Wonderful stuff. Can they seal it in a 3-0 sweep? That's the question now, as the Tampa already on their left-hand side going in with a nice extended arms there onto Cookie and Crew, but the aggressiveness of Zeta is quite important. They can't really allow the Buster to have a good early start to get that shielding very quickly. So these are the times to capitalise on for Zeta. I'm liking their approach. They're being calculated, they're being slow, they're being overconfident as well, and just kind of not taking anything for granted in this matchup.
Very aggressive from Cookie. Levi will get that kill and fly as well. Possibly thinking he wasn't going to get the finish and he wanted to swoop in and try and get that as well, but slight little waste of usage there on the flight. It is a lead, and Stamper's going to go in. Huge hit from him. Wonderful stuff, and cycles out that super to be able to aggress again once healed up.
Great again, straight away as Cookie. Yeah, nothing you can do there. Maybe Nene could have gone in a bit earlier to protect his teammate. Gets the hypnosis now, gets the trade, but it's still Zeta in the lead with the blue star also. Suzuki now. Oh, that was a super that was needed by Nene as well, and that's going to be less utility for this defense now. Healing up as best they can. Juju there, dropping the Grigri onto the map. Hypercharge for Creo. And time for a push, let's be honest. Just one singular kill is all that anyone need here, regardless. So, what can they really do so with Zeta being so aggressive again, with Tampa going on Cookie, who is the prime target. Was the Tampa just cycling those deaths? Is the play, isn't it, really? With 30 seconds now, Zeta are so close to a semi-finals appearance, at least.
I mean, it's crazy how in control Zeta Division are. When they're so far up, they're still aggressing. And Cookie, now invisible, trying to move up onto Levi, has the hypercharge as well. Stambo just going to go into the wall. Should be able to find at least one of these kills. Nene gets a super, but Stambo just swoops around the wall. Levi will go in with his hypercharge. Should be able to get him and extends the lead 13-5 here. There's no chance of a comeback from Niwa. And although they've tried hard, and they should be way closer to 3-0, Zeta Division close out the series.
Really convincing today from Zeta so far. As you'd expect, the last month's monthly final champions continue their assault on the region and looking really, really good. I mean, Niwa was certainly the underdog, but I feel like they were looking good themselves here today. Just an unfortunate matchup in the bracket. I think that if it had been some of the other teams here today, we might have seen Niwa in their first semi-finals, but unfortunately, Zeta's not that day.
An assault on the region, you say? Well, yes, it was quite dominant what they showed us today. Only one single game taken by Niwa in the end, even though all three of us always said it actually was quite close. It really looks like Niwa has a chance here. I feel like the 3-0 might not reflect how strong Niwa were today. Zeta Division was just stronger. They had mechanical skills on display once again, and they just can't lose, especially with their shade. So I wouldn't be too surprised to see them walk through even all the way to the grand finals, but that's another story. It's going to be a tough semi-final for them, regardless of who makes it through the next match. Now, looking at the damage here, the kills, Janet certainly has the damage here, thanks to the hypercharge as well. Ark, you mentioned how strong this roller is, thanks to that in the meta.
I just think you've got to ban it on this map specifically. Layer Cake, I think, is a very, very warranted ban for me, and just don't take the risk. Don't leave it open. Niwa's draft wasn't a bad one, let's be honest. I mean, Buster, again, like I said, being really elevated into the meta. Maybe like last month, not so much. This month is really in a good spot. But Ollie, I mean, there was some really good stuff going for this comp on the side of Niwa. It wasn't a bad draft by any means.
We talked about it before as well. One of the 4 teams that can make it into the World Cup in Dallas, and they also have a checklist to do here, Trev. So far, so good for them.
Yeah, I mean, this is, I'd say, probably one of the harder checklists, because Defeat Crazy Raccoon is up next. The bottom side of this bracket definitely seems a lot more stacked than the top. Not that the top's not, because that Reject versus Navi game is ridiculous as well. But you look at Zeta Division, you look at Crazy Raccoon, and these guys have been the East Asia region for the past 3-4 years. So it's crazy to think that they're pretty much facing each other earlier than the grand finals every single month. This region is getting more stacked year by year, and Reject and Navi have been huge opponents to Crazy Raccoon and Zeta Division this year.
Yeah, very true. Zeta Division last month, it was the quarterfinals against Crazy Raccoon. It was the 3-2 in the end, very, very close. Now they have to face off against each other in the semi-finals. That's certainly a match to look out for. So this could already be our grand final. If Reject, by the way, make it into the grand finals, if they win it all, then Zeta Division is out now. As long as Zeta makes it to the grand finals, though, and Reject doesn't, they're already through. Now, MVP, who could it be other than Ark?
Tampo. Shay Tampo, I should probably say, to be fair. And I think definitely not the last time we're going to be seeing him on that particular brawler here today. At least for my personal sake, I hope that that is the case. I want to see more of it. I think probably, no shadow of a doubt, to be said as the best Shay player in the world. But maybe we'll see a contender to that title this month, because again, it really did draw our attention last month as being really the first instance of that particular brawler really just being played to perfection, really, and showing that it has a place in the meta, just a bit more refined in terms of its placements and its kind of like maps and modes in that regard. But I mean, what a joy to watch, and plenty more from Zeta where that came from later today.
We're already getting ready now for our very last quarterfinal of the day, a match between one team that is yet to make it out of the quarterfinals. So far, Frenzy Gaming had no luck in that. And then the other team, Crazy Raccoon, winning the February monthly finals, but not making it out of the quarterfinals either in March. We're going to see that after a quick break.
アドハイパーレアビリ HP6000 かセイド攻撃が追撃するってことはミープルです。ありがとうございます。メロディ役割はアタッカーかマックスウルトラレア金髪アタッカーなんだろうなメロディじゃないリタイアですね。わかんないですね。出てこなかったです。海か。あーうわ、あいつ金髪か。レアドはウルトラレア。モーティス。サポートキャラってことは、バイロン。だって難しいな。うわ、わかんないです。ごめんなさい。あ、グレイ。うわ、グレイか。確かに。レアドがハイパーレア。ビリー。体力5000ってことはめっちゃ低いから投げキャラか。うわなんだティックそんなにスキンいっぱい出てる体力5000のハイパーレアのキャラクターリコガチか。役割はサポートポコはいポコ
Welcome back to the April monthly finals here of East Asia. We're already done with 3 quarterfinals, but we still have a banger next to come. Now, Kenny, we get you back as well. Did that go as expected? Zeta Division winning against Neva 3-0?
It did. Honestly, I had that one baked in as a 3-0, and unfortunately, in my predictions, I'm going 3-0 for this one as well. I just think Crazy Raccoon, Zeta Division Reject are at another level in this region.
It really looks like it. Now, Quarterfinal number 4, we have Crazy Raccoon versus Frenzy Gaming. Again, Crazy Raccoon did have a great run through the February monthly finals. March didn't go all through well, got knocked out of the quarterfinals to save the division. They had a great run in this month's qualifiers, though. They qualified through the upper bracket here, and then on the other side, Frenzy Gaming got knocked down quite early into the loser bracket, had to beat 4 teams in a row, and finally had to knock out Effort Result as well, that so far have shown up in the monthly finals of this region, but not this month.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be very tough for Frenzy Gaming, to be honest with you. Crazy Raccoon have been pretty much the team to watch when it was coming into this year in the region. It took a bit of a weird turn in terms of picking up Milcro, in my opinion, for roster changes, but it seems to have worked out pretty well overall.
We had the chance to talk to Tensai here from the side of Crazy Raccoon. Let's hear it, what he has to say about their last month's performance.
チームとしての最大の強みはコミュニケーションを多くとって雰囲気がいいところだと思います。改善に向けて取り組んでいることはやっぱり今のブロスタはバンピックが一番大事なので、そこを一番練習して意識しています。先月準々決勝で負けてしまった原因は、やっぱりメタを完璧に把握できてなくて相手のやりたいことを簡単にさせてしまったことが原因だと思います。
Crazy Raccoon is also on the list of the 4 teams that is still in the race for the World Cup in this region. Their checklist is rather short. They just need to make it into the grand finals and win it, especially if it's against Reject here, Kenny.
Winning in, I mean, that's the motto. I think this team is going to be looking up for that as well. They're definitely going to be looking for revenge in the semifinals if they get there. Frenzy Gaming, definitely a good team in this region, but again, Crazy Raccoon, previous 2-time world champion on their team. Moya Goku certainly has postseasons run. Milcreo, even last year, has started building up that experience. It's a fierce roster. I think it's just a big ask of Frenzy Gaming to cause an upset in such an important month.
Yeah, as you already mentioned, on the other side of this match is Frenzy Gaming. Now, Trev, we haven't seen that much of them in the monthly finals so far. They never made it out of the quarterfinals. Is today the day of days?
To put it plainly, no. At least
Yeah,
I don't think so. They're against Crazy Raccoon. I mean, you know, if they're against some of the other teams, if they're against Niwa, if they're against, you know, possibly even Rival this month, then I think maybe they would have had a chance of getting out of this position. But just because it's Crazy Raccoon, I think you've got to be kind of a little bit scared for Frenzy in this one.
Their monthly qualifier looked pretty decent, though. They did get knocked down into the loser bracket quite early on, which was surprising, but then they had a phenomenal run, Kenny.
Definitely a solid showing here. I mean, a lot of good stuff, and especially with the high pressure situation that lower bracket can be, you know, to get out of it, go through a few teams, including Effort Result in a 3-2. Effort Result, a team that's been here a lot this year in that top 8 kind of spot right now. I mean, honestly, goes to show that they've still got it in them. There's a possibility, but Crazy Raccoon are tried, tested, have a monthly finals, grand finals win already. I just think, again, Frenzy Gaming should certainly be an underdog here. Not to say that it's impossible, but I think it's pretty darn unlikely.
I do think they're a bit more of a dark horse here. Crazy Raccoon is looking very strong right now. Their scrim results is speaking a lot. Like, they look better now than they did in all of the previous months together, and they did win the February monthly finals. So yeah, that goes to say that they should probably win this one today as well. I think a lot of us also have them pinpointed down as the team to beat them all today, but let's see if they can make it out of the quarterfinals first. Again, Frenzy Gaming, don't underestimate them.
Yeah, our prediction all going Crazy Raccoon, so I think we might be underestimating Frenzy Gaming a little bit, but I think the Crazy Raccoon are just the heavy favourites coming into this one, and Frenzy Gaming, as good of a team as they are, as great as the players are, it's going to be so difficult for them to make this happen, because as you said, scrim results, Crazy Raccoon, previous monthly final results, Crazy Raccoon, previous years, the accolade to the players from Crazy Raccoon, everything sides with them, and I'm surprised more of the public don't, and this is an 87%, I'm surprised it's not more that way. 13% going for Frenzy, taking a bit of a risk on that one, but I don't mind a risk, those 13%, I love it.
talking about predictions here, if you didn't get yours in yet, do that now on eventofbroadcast.com and you can earn some pro rank XP, advance in your rank pass, and also get a pin at the end of the reward track. Now, heading into the draft here, B double Ben. I did not expect that an open zone necessarily. Louis double Ben makes a lot of sense. Lumi, I think that one Ben we don't really have to talk about anymore today, Kenny. It just feels like this brawler is not going to be seen all month.
I don't think so either. Lumi is just so good right now, so it makes a lot of sense on why we're seeing her name called in the ban stage on so many different maps. This is a little interesting of a turn, though. Poco, unsurprising. Still a brawler that shows up a lot in this region. Meg, though, is somebody that's gotten a sprinkle of play in some of these hot zone maps, so it's interesting to kind of see that return. Chester, it is open zone and a pretty open map, so maybe a little bit of a question mark, but I think when you see Poco, you're expecting tank, so that might be their way to do it, but Meg is really the thing that's caught my eye.
Yeah, I mean, this Meg's a little bit weird. I mean, it's pretty decent on this map. Not sure if it's kind of first pick material in my eyes, but I like the Chester. Chester's pretty much good everywhere, especially after getting that hypercharge. It's been the way to go. Draco's going to come in. It's been definitely having higher pick rates in hot zone. As of more recent, the gadget very solid, and obviously you can't really run out of them now, so you can just keep on coming back, popping that, getting some percent, dying, getting healed, and it's pretty much just an endless cycle of Draco running up.
I think with Lou gone in that ban stage, it also helps Draco's case. Very popular brawler across the world on hot zone, at least as the tank of choice, and I think oftentimes is going to be combined with that Poco. Stu rounding things out. Last month, Stu was very popular, very successful. This month, especially with his nerfs, I do anticipate him kind of going down in terms of the play rate, the ban rate, etc. But he's still a good brawler. I think it's a safe one, and now rounds out this composition. They've got their tanky Draco, they've got Poco, who's a little bit of support, and Stu can be a little bit of in and out. The aggressive factor that you need. He can also drop that speed zone, so I think a little bit of everything coming in for that left-hand side.
Yeah, well, I'd say Ollie's still on the table as well, so surprisingly nobody has picked that one up just yet. Possibly the last, but they're going to go with Hank instead on a somewhat open map after that nerf to the hypercharge. Not as good when it comes to making sure those projectiles are hitting, but still a pretty viable brawler. It was touched on earlier, some regions coming back and rethinking that this brawl might still have what it takes to be used and competitive. But to be honest, I like both these compositions. Different things brought to the table, but pretty valid.
Frenzy Gaming really trying some stuff. I mean, we haven't seen Meg be relevant in a while. Hank is somebody that I think everybody assumed was just going to be awful after all the nerfs that he received. But again, it's been a debate. I mean, depending on the region, depending on the team, I've heard a lot of different opinions from pros on Hank. So it seems the East Asia are unafraid of this brawler. Open zone is where we take our opening set to Meg in the middle. And here comes Tordesu on this right-hand end, charging up, making a connection. Milgreo has to work alongside his teammate. Moya just needs a super at this point, still trying to extend, but Mira guns him down.
Extremely early use of gadget there from the Draco. Doesn't seem to be too switched on with that at all. Got a heal from Milgreo when he was still in the gadget form. So nice swing there from Mira, getting things cleaned up with the hypercharge. Definitely extends that a little bit. Tensai should be able to pick up Mira here and possibly Danshari around the back lines if he carried on. But might pivot his focus to Doretsu, who gets his teammate. And honestly, Frenzy Gaming in a wonderful position at the moment.
A lot of warfare happening in this mid right now. Chester honestly holding his own. I think into these three brawlers, you don't necessarily need all the range in the world. It's Stu, Draco, and Poco, no long range. Finally, Mira brought down. Just going to be a lonely pea shooter with that pistol. Tordesu has the shield ready, a hypercharge to push them away, and now covering up that hot zone. It's a mini Lucifer for the time being. Hank with a great assist from Mira. They're holding on for dear life here. Moya with a little bit of a gadget, not long enough though. Not going to be able to extend Crazy Raccoon here, so it's going to be a small lead for Frenzy Gaming.
Tensai just unable to get either of them down there. Both of them one shot to him. Danshari comes back up, but very low pretty much instantly. Meg back into that mecha. And now a good hypercharge from Milgreo will allow the team to push forward. So Moya going on cleanup duty. Gets two of them down. But Mira still stands in the back portion of this map. Crazy Raccoon aren't going to be too sad about this positioning on the zone and 85% in climbing.
That's a great instance of how big of a difference a purple button can make. Tordesu trying to make one of his own, but you see that nerf kind of come through there. Tensai gets a pickup, a trade onto Chester. Mira trying to work up, but Moya and Milgreo survive. That's a great comeback there from Crazy Raccoon. It's looking bad for him for a moment there. Frenzy Gaming certainly in this one, but a good pull away there from Crazy Raccoon.
Yeah, much better in the end from Crazy Raccoon. Seemed a little bit sketchy off the start, to be honest with you. But in the end, Crazy Raccoon came back. I'm not sure about this playing position from Moya, by the way. I think I'd be wildly uncomfortable doing that. But, if it's working for him, and it clearly is, you do you.
Whatever is comfy for him. I certainly would be in the normal game or lean in my chair, but I can't imagine being on the ground playing like that and playing that well. So even more of a testament to him. Moya Goku getting a super here early. Toradesu responds, and Moya guns him down. Just a little bit of a flamethrower up in the faces. And now Danshari, Mira going to be forced away. All the CR brawlers still standing.
Worse start this time for the side of Frenzy Gaming than in the previous game, but Toradesu almost clips them both with that bubble air, but Moya still up and fighting, gets hit hard, and Milcreo can't quite heal them up too well. Gadget being used, but not too successfully. Might have wanted to hold that for the next time. Big swipe comes in, Milcreo goes down thanks to Mira's hypercharge, and Tensai can't quite get him out of mech, which puts him in a great position going forwards, Frenzy.
This is where I get a little bit nervous for Crazy Raccoon. They need a comeback mechanic. They have Poco who can just kind of march up alongside a Moya Gadget. Some supers coming out to get him some extra HP. It's working out pretty well. Frenzy with a narrow lead, but Crazy Raccoon getting the kills necessary. Danshari has to go to his left-hand side, just hiding the shrubbery and doing exactly what Moya Goku is doing. Now he is positioning himself on this top right-hand side, has the flamethrower ready to go, and the Dragon's Breath doing good work.
Swing from there from Mira, and now Moya coming forwards. Great heals from Milcreo as well. Gadget being used, I feel like a little bit early again. Did catch him on 1 HP eventually, but feel like he could have popped it and got a bit more aggressive earlier. Getting healed up again now, has the super back in hand, so can get some heals off that as well. If Milcreo can't provide them, 87%, almost at 90 now. Moya back into that Dragon Fall once more. Tensai cleans on the right hand side, and this is surely going to be the set to Crazy Raccoon, solidified by Milcreo's heal. And that is a quick, but not so convincing set. Frenzy honestly had a big say in that.
Frenzy's draft was interesting. They kind of take some more unorthodox picks, or at least some with more question marks. And on the other end, I feel like Crazy Raccoon got exactly what they wanted. They got Poco, which is a very dependable brawler on this map. They got their tank of choice in Draco, which is very common despite how open this map is. I just think between the Poco heals, the indestructible gadget, there's a lot going for Draco there. And then Stu's just a good brawler overall. I'm impressed with Crazy Raccoon. Solid draft, which is something that was a little bit of a question mark. I think they fumbled the bag on that against State Division last month. So that's a great adjustment, seeing them improve month to month.
I really feel like what Shade is to Zeta Division is Draco to Crazy Raccoon. They pop up on this brawler time and time again, and as you mentioned, Kenny, they really got the comp that they wanted, it seems, and they did so well with it. But Frenzy Gaming did have a say in that. As you said, Trev, in the first round, going 1 minute into the game, it was 63 to 63%. It was so close, yet still, it's another 2-0. It just seems to be that the teams, just like Neva, Frenzy Gaming never made it out of the quarterfinals. Those teams just come close, but they still can't win.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just the experience that, you know, the teams like Crazy Raccoon and Zeta Division bring to the table are closing out these games, finding a way to do it, even though they are in a bit of a tough position, that makes them who they are. And Frenzy Gaming definitely put up a huge fight, as you said, so close at certain points of that game, but in the end, just couldn't quite get it done. And a lot of really solid heals from Milcreo in there as well. Good moves from Tensai, well played by Moya. All three of them just did exactly what they were there to do.
I think well executed from Crazy Raccoon. I will say Meg played a pretty good set. Obviously, it showed in the stats, but I felt like she had time of possession there for quite a bit. Was a big factor for the health points, the second life, kind of preserving herself and keeping them up and afloat and getting it close to the beginning of games. So it just felt like as time went on, Crazy Raccoon were able to extend positioning. They sent Stu out, who had the least amount of hot zone percentage on their team, and that's because he's dashing in, he's dashing out. He's kind of there to be a flanker, whereas Poco, Draco are there to hold down the fort.
It really looked like Crazy Raccoon found their stride within this set, looking a bit wobbly still coming into this. Just still waking up, you know, it's quite early after all, at least where I live. But yeah, coming in a bit wobbly, getting out of it quite strong though. Let's see if they can take this momentum and make it even better here in Super Beach. Now for Crazy Raccoon, Draco could be another choice here on this map in particular. I do feel like B is going to be the biggest counter to it, so I kind of expect this to be banned out here. Let's see if I will be right here, Trev.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good shout. The B, very good brawler. Through the mid is dangerous stuff. I've been seeing a lot of throwers down the lanes on this map. Not sure if it's something that the East Asia region really do too much. So they're not the biggest kind of thrower region. I think that the EU really champions those a lot more. We see a lot more aggression coming out of this region. But I love a thrower down the other sides. We've seen some Larry and Laurie, Juju is available, Bali even being played, which is something that I just really love to see on the Super Beach map.
Lumi and Ollie are the first two brawlers that come to mind for me here. Obviously, don't need to touch too much on Lumi, but I do think Ollie is in ban contention for me here as well. Just such a hard brawler to deal with. You can only ban so many tank counters, but Ollie is just not a tank that's countered very easily. I think there's very few in the game that hard counter him, so I think having that asset on your side, it's also a great goal scoring opportunity with the hypnosis. Lots to love about both those brawlers.
And Ollie is banned out, so Kenny is right, but he's banned out as well. I'm right. Now let's see if also a few throwers are going to be picked up, so Trav is happy as well. At least Barley is banned out, so I guess you're right as well here. What we all kind of did expect, what we didn't have on the radar, is Hank coming in once again. Of course, he's a pretty good counter to those throwers. He can shoot through the walls almost on the side lanes here, and those two L's that protect the throwers. But yeah, still didn't really have it on my radar. What about you, Trev?
Yeah, I mean, it's a weird one. I don't mind the Hank. Like, it was played pretty successfully in that first set by Frenzy Gaming, and it's definitely something that this region seems to like. Lou, also a very good pick through the mid, especially when V's out the way. We get Ash coming in as well to tank some of the shots from the Hank and still be able to move forwards. So, Frenzy Gaming, another couple of very decent picks here, in my opinion.
Ash is a common tank that's going to show up on this map, and then we grab our tank counter of choice, especially with B out of the way. No Ollie, no Frank, so I'm curious to see if they try and open the map, or if they lean thrower themselves. Ash is an aggressive brawler, but into Lou, having a thrower not the worst thing in the world, I don't think. I think especially something like a Juju could be interesting here, so curious how Crazy Rec can respond. I don't think there's necessarily one way to deal with this. I think Carl's probably in the equation as well. There's that Charlie. I'm telling you, this region's really enjoyed this brawler. I don't know how the rest of the world's going to handle it, but when looking at scrims, I mean, this brawler has been a surprise pick for me so many times. The play rate is honestly rather high, especially in modes like this. It's interesting to kind of see. I think it does particularly well into Lou. I've seen her matched up into Lou particularly just because of the Spiderlings dealing so well with these, low damage projectiles that Lou has. The snow cone's not doing well, and obviously Cocoon speaks for itself into somebody like a tank like Ash.
Yeah, I mean, the only change that Charlie got was, I think, 7 hits for Super is now down to 6 hits for Super, which doesn't seem like a massive change, but people are definitely picking up a lot more than they used to be. Berry is going to come in, though, as Frenzy Gaming's last pick. Really nice stuff. Got the healer to go along with the tank now, and also the Lou as well, so should be a pretty well-versed comp from Frenzy Gaming. Very versatile, got a bit of everything, but I also like Crazy Raccoon. If the Hank does do well, then Crazy Raccoon is going to be flying.
Barry's definitely flown more under the radar since our opening month, where he was one of the go-to brawlers. I think now he's in a good place. I don't think he's overpowered, but I think in the right hands and the right composition could certainly shine. Crazy Raccoon here with a 1-0 lead as we extend into Brawl Ball. Stay prawn ready, folks. Moegoku on this left-hand side, a wall break on the right-hand side, already with a takedown. Danchari forced to fall back, using the heals, goes down again. Milcareo just encroaching on this other end, and they chisel away at this map and find the open net. Beautifully played from Crazy Raccoon.
I mean, really nice stuff, and an early wall break is there as well on that on the wall on the right-hand side, which makes it hard for the Ash and also the Berry. The heal comes through, just about cocooned in time. It should still be able to grab the ball. Tentai goes in for it and gives him it straight away, but the shot isn't off. Unfortunately there, I feel like there was definitely a chance to score after a big blunder from Tensai.
Close call, and now positioning back in CR's hands. Danchari forced away. They need Ash and Lou to pop off, otherwise there's nowhere for them to walk. Mira just slowly walking up to this ball. Has a super available and needs to form an ice rink on this map now. Super going down for Ash. Moya low HP, but does have a super hypercharge combination, so he can heal up at a moment's notice.
Moya goes way too aggressive and gets punished there. Milcareo is so close to being frozen up here. Torredesso moved forward quite heavily, but is quite low now. Berry will heal up a little bit, but Tensai going to fly in with its hypercharge and get a lot of damage in, along with Milcareo and Moya. They managed to pick one of the kills up, and Danchari still alive in here, healing up Torredesso, and now goes forward with a super, and they're going to surely pass this off to the Ash and get the goal. Moving it forward, and still defended by CR. Really nice stuff, and Frenzy Gaming can't catch a break.
I feel like there's a real opportunity for them. Hypercharge goes down for Mira, more out of desperation in defense. You would have loved to see that be on the offensive side. Heals being dispersed from Danchari, and Moya still hovering on this left-hand end toward Desu moving forward. There's the ice, there's the freeze, and there's the takedown. Tensai Milcareo left all alone. They definitely have defensive measures with that Charlie super, but they need to make it count.
Tensai went in to grab the ball there as well, didn't manage to get it and move it into a more safe place, but Milcareo with the hypercharge on the right hand side, ball gets passed up to him, can't quite find the kill in time to get it done though. We do see Moya in this position, might be able to get a shot, just saved off the line by Mira, but still time for a Frenzy Gaming comeback if they get this ball up.
pixel-perfect defense from Frenzy Gaming. They barely hold on, but they've only got 15 seconds to act. It's a 1-0 lead for CR. All they have to do is battle the clock. Toradesu, left-hand side. Hypercharge goes down for Danshari. Now a strike. That's a takedown. 3v2 situation. The red roster marching forward and the momentum swinging. 3 seconds to go, and they'll punch their shot in the net. Tie ball game as we go into overtime.
Just about getting in with 1 second left. Hypercharge is ready to go for Moya, but obviously not as effective as it used to be. This would have been game over just a few weeks ago, but times have changed, and a super comes down from Mira, not able to stun out Moya just yet, who's awaiting this kind of freezing part of the loop kit to be gone, but Mira just about grabs the ball. Toradesu might be able to clear these lines here, but not able to do it, and CR, regardless of conceding in the late seconds of regulation, managed to get it done in overtime.
I was curious how overtime was going to treat them, because it's a really interesting comp. Obviously, Charlie has some range, but by no means is a long-range brawler. Stu relies on that super to kind of move forward, and Hank's just kind of there, you know? He's kind of just charging with a shot, hoping to get close enough to strike, but certainly vulnerable in those overtime situations. But on the other end, not a lot to work with either. I mean, they have Lou, who's medium range, but other than that, not much.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like Crazy Raccoon wants to go for a pretty early goal again, but Moya taking a lot more damage this time than in the previous. Ball gets passed all the way up. Toradesu evades that nicely and does stay alive, gets the kill on Moya, and kind of makes it a 3v2 in this defensive position, so should be able to push out when the Creo pops a gadget and stops Mira short.
Danshari already with a hypercharge ready to go. Working alongside his tank. It's going to be Ash on this left-hand end. An ice rink goes down. Moya forced away. Well, Creo needs to land some more cocoons. It's a big factor for them and a huge part of their defense. And they hold on for now. 3v2 situation as Toradesu just juggles these heals, juggles the multiple brawlers on the other end. Tensai with a little dash forward will back him away, especially with a wall break.
Wall breaks coming in from this breakthrough. Milcro going to miss the super though. Will spawn in some pets, and Danshari is slowed down by Moya's hit there, I believe. So good heals coming in from Danshari now as well. But Toradesu is going to be back and pushing them out once more. Now Hypercharge and Tensai starting to move forward. Danshari goes for a super, doesn't get any damage onto him, and he might be going down here as well. Good clean up from CR all the way through. They're going to get all 3 members down and slot the ball straight in the goal.
Team wipes all it takes. Nicely played by the blue side. Reset here with a little over a minute on the clock. Hypercharge ready to go for Moya. They're going to be working that ball on the left-hand side. In and out. Tensai. Perfect precision on those shots, just to frustrate the enemy, to keep them low, to keep control of this map. And all Frenzy Gaming can do is lob that ball forward and just hope to find a frag.
Really nice heal there from Danshari, but you might go down. Moya gets the hypercharge through and the kill along with it. Milcreo has one of his own, choosing not to use it just yet. Eventually pops in. Does miss it once more, but some spawners will come in. The Spiders trying to do what they can. Tensai is there for the pass, might be able to dash onto this one. Does, grabs it, and secures the set for Crazy Raccoon as Danshari can't get there in time.
Had a little bit of a stumble there in game number 1 as we broke into overtime, but other than that, pretty smooth sailing, I would say, for Crazy Raccoon. A little exclamation of joy there from Milcreo. He's the vibes man. Always a little high spirit. Always brings up a team, I feel like. So nicely played there. So far, so good.
Great to see some smiles on the screen from the side of the players here. Crazy Raccoon, so far so good for them. They didn't drop a single game, 2-0 all across the board, and 2-0 also within the sets now. Yeah, pretty amazing stuff coming out from them. Twice in a row they picked up the Stu. Maybe that's their signature brawler actually. And Tensai did a phenomenal job on this guy. I didn't really see how on earth Frenzy Gaming could ever stop him on that Stu. He was just rocking around back and forth, got 3 goals for his team as well. Yeah, all in all, a bit of an MVP in my eyes already.
Yeah, well, 656 is kind of nothing, just kind of glaze over, and good DPS all round from the Crazy Raccoon team. Frenzy Gaming just couldn't keep up with it, as we saw. Berry didn't even get a kill, so obviously that's kind of not his role, but didn't see that much healing out of him either, to be fair. We saw a few supers forwards and a few good moments where the Ash maybe could have scored, but just not enough for Frenzy Gaming to really be threatening Crazy Raccoon at this point. And if it carries on like this, although they're playing well, I still see it closing out in a 3-0, sorry.
Do you feel like so far Frenzy Gaming didn't have the best of luck in the brackets as well? Always had to face up against quite strong teams. Arguably, this one is their worst month so far. Crazy Raccoon, we all are kind of putting them into the grand finals already. It really feels like they are just unstoppable at the moment. Looking at scrim results, even against the top teams, even the ones that are higher up in the leaderboard than them, they had phenomenal results. So I didn't expect anything else other than a 2-0 so far. I will still hope for Frenzy Gaming, just for the feeling, to get at least a set in, to gain some more experience, also for the next month again.
It would
I
be
think the
helpful.
reality.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I feel for him, but I think the reality of the situation in this region is, assuming the favorites win, Reject, Crazy Raccoon, Zeta, 3 out of 4 of those, you're likely going to have to play them. And I think the biggest thing for some of these teams is just finding a way to get out of that upper bracket, because I think that would change everything if they could get a little bit of an upset, maybe get themselves a little bit favorable of a matchup. I don't know. I do feel bad, but at the same time, I think you just got to accept the reality of the situation. If you want to beat the best, you got to beat the best.
Well, into pit stop we go, and this is a map that maybe Frenzy Gaming can make something happen on. It's a bit more unpredictable. A lot of tanks are usually deployed here, and that means they might have a bit of a chance. Melody, Carl, and Lumi going to be banned out from the side of Crazy Raccoon, but Cordelius being picked early on from Frenzy Gaming, so maybe go in the anti-tank route, and they ban out a couple of tanks as well, in the Hank and Frank, and get rid of Nita as well.
Cordelius first pick targeted towards any tank that Crazy Raccoon could still pick up here, as you mentioned, Trev. Usually a map where we see a lot of those HP heavy brawlers on. Shade comes to mind here immediately. I feel like Shade, his best map is probably pit stop, so I wouldn't be too surprised to see him here. What we see recently quite often as well is Lily, which I also feel like could have a little entrance here into this comp. Reiko coming out of Crazy Raccoon again. As mentioned before, Kenny, I do feel like it's kind of the signature brawler, maybe next to Stu, of Crazy Raccoon.
Definitely a solid shout on this map as well. Spike's going to be the brawler that shows up here. It's one of those damage dealers that has shown up quite a bit. And ooh, the Miko kit combo. That is a frustrating one to deal with. You got to make it count. I mean, it can certainly fumble, but I feel like at a professional level, these guys know what they're doing. Into the Spike specifically, I think that's totally fine. Draco has so many health points that I don't know if it's necessarily effective in him, but honestly, more than anything, I think they're just trying to play the cheeky strategy game mode and go for high save damage. I don't think they're too worried about frags with this combo.
It's sad to say that Sam really didn't get much time in the limelight, to be honest, because, as soon as his hypercharge came out, it was nerfed pretty much into the ground. He had, maybe a few days where he was kind of tearing it up in ranked, but, yeah, we didn't get to see it in the monthly finals, sadly. So he does have a hypercharge, nowhere near as good as it was upon release. But, yeah, this Frenzy Gaming team is either going to completely crumble here or do so well with this composition.
Really interesting for sure. I feel like this is one of those where you're just trying to throw something at the wall and see if it sticks. Frenzy Gaming certainly coming up with unique strategy. Not too often you see Miko here, so if you're a fan, lock in and hope for the best here for Frenzy Gaming. Mira low HP diving into Moya. Tensai on a breakaway down the left-hand side will get a chunk of damage and now paves the way for Mocreo to get a few extra chip shots in there. It's pretty even though. It's just Miko on this bottom side uncontested.
Yeah, Miko should be going down now, and he does just about 7%. Is all that breaks, or separates them, I should say. Should see Milcrow going down here, but actually gets the popping pink cushion off. Tensai going to come in. Draco might be able to mark up this safe here. Chooses not to at the moment. Gadget not being used and gets some good damage anyway, down to 42%. And now eventually Miko gets back on that bottom one and adds some more to the Crazy Raccoon side.
I think it's going to come down to if the defense from Frenzy Gaming can hold, because Miko alone is not going to be able to win this fight. If there's 2 to 3 Crazy Raccoon brawlers there, it's going to have to be a huge stop. This is where they can explode with offense, though. One brawler goes down, Mira left all alone. Kit's not necessarily somebody I'm worried about for high save damage, so Mocreo Moya know the numbers, and they take it to the other side, now dipping to 25%. Tensai looking to clean things up alongside Moya. A pitch from both sides, and Cordelia's can only handle one at a time. Tensai gets a kill. They will get a Kit stun. They're going to have to buy time here. Miko's going to have to play this pretty darn perfectly if they want to win.
Yeah, well, Milcreo can kind of just go up here with his hypercharge super and try to throw it on safe, but it's not done yet. Jumps come through and the damage is there for Frenzy Gaming. Get a game on the board finally and some really nice stuff. I feel like maybe Crazy Raccoon should have closed that one out, but in the end, it was really nice there for Frenzy Gaming, and also we still see Milcreo looking as happy as ever even after a loss.
It's just a little bit of a miscalculation, I think. I think they had to just get one little defense onto the Miko there, and then I think they can move forward. It was close enough to where all Miko needs is just a few jumps, and he made it look pretty easy. Tensai going to let this one go. All 3 brawlers engaging on this right-hand din, so Mira has to make a decision. It's offense or defense. Danshari can only help with one. There's the freeze. They take down one. A trade. CR in a 2v1. A miss super there from Danshari. Not going to be enough, so it's going to be CR taking an explosive lead here off the start.
Yeah, that's going to cost them quite heavily. And we also see Draco just leaving the Miko unsafe now rather than fending it. We'll see Tensai attempting to defend that one this time. Dan Shari falls quite low. Moya going to come right out the realm next to Torodetsu, but actually it lasts a bit longer than I expected. And now 3 members of CR back on the offense. Mira going to go for the stun, but leaves the right-hand side completely unattended. And surely it's going to be a gadget mark. It is. Milkreo gets the damage in, but not finishing off just yet. 27% down below. Moya might be able to get this done. Super in hand, but can't quite. Gets the gadget off and just about pierces through Mira to get the finishing 2 blows. Match point for Crazy Raccoon.
Honestly, really disciplined to not pop that super, I think, if you're Draco, because if he does, by the time you've healed up or even gained a little bit of extra, they're just going to take you down. There's 2 brawlers staring you down, so the 2,000 somewhat health points you would have gained, I don't think make a difference. Really good gadget pop, good discipline to just lock into that heist save, and such important decisions going down there. Heist is just a bunch of mini math decisions. Do you engage? Do you play defense? And right now, Crazy Raccoon know the numbers. They're going to send all 3 members to this top right-hand side.
Yeah, Jump comes in and they aren't able to get the mark off again. Milkreo going forwards towards the safe, but was cut short, and Miko has developed quite the lead now for Frenzy Gaming. Tensai on the safe, just throwing out this knuckle duster. He might actually win this match against Mira here. Doesn't get the heal in time, and Moya forced to defend Torodetsu. Will get him down. Not the biggest difference, only 12%, but Frenzy Gaming with some good control.
The control's important too, because now Moya's in a 1v1 with Dan Shari. Does end up winning it. I think that's a huge loss there, because instead of Miko going on the offensive, he now has to play defense, and they get double kills on this left-hand side. The Dragon's Breath on the right, raining down on this heist safe. A gadget from Spike. Tensai lurking, barely holding on, and 276 will finally bring him down. Miko just trying to get to the other end with an indestructible super. Will drop down right in the face of Tensai.
Tensai misses that gadget there as well, but choosing to just go upwards, hoping that Moya can defend this one out. Dan Shari goes forward, actually gets trade now whilst using Hypercharge. Not the best for him, and only 15% left up top. Mira just going aggressive, trying to finish this off before the boys on CR can get the damage done. It's so close, but a good defense from Tensai comes in, just get it done, and that's going to be the match. Series to CR, and they move to the semis to face off against Zeta.
Got some main character energy coming on Milkreo like there. I like that. Pumped up for the 3-0 victory, taking care of business, and now an opportunity at revenge. Zeta Division versus CR. This is the matchup the folks at home have been anticipating, waiting for, and I cannot wait to see it.
Again, it could be a grand final match, couldn't it? A really match I'm looking forward to. It's semi-final number 2. First up, we have Reject versus Navito. And yeah, as you mentioned, pit stop, it's all about decision making here, really. I really feel like Crazy Raccoon just had it down. They knew exactly when to push up, when to defend. They just knew what they were doing, yet still it was kind of close. We did go all the way to the very last game here in this set. Once again, Frenzy Gaming coming out on a 3-0 loss. But it still was a close one. Again, I feel like this result doesn't really reflect how close it really was, Trev.
It's another one of those, it really is. And you got to feel bad for Dan Shari here, forced on defense for the entirety. Got 8 kills, got 606 DPS, which is huge. 0 damage to save, so you can see what his kind of role was in that. But overall, so close. There was 3 games and that Frenzy Gaming could have won there in that heist. They won one of them and lost 2. All 3 of them so close. So a little bit unfortunate that we didn't see it go further. But Crazy Raccoon, I think, here with a deserved win. And even if Frenzy Gaming had won this set, it was going to go CR towards the end anyway.
Now again, as mentioned, our first semi-final that is on the way already is going to be a Reject versus Navi. For Navi, a dream got shattered just now, because this match didn't only mean everything to Crazy Raccoon, but also to them. Their checklist includes that Crazy Raccoon drops out of the quarterfinals, and Zeta Division as well. Neither of them dropped out of the quarterfinals, both made it to the semis, so that's already goodbye for Navi. Goodbye Brawl Cup hope.
Hate it for them, honestly. Yeah. It's just tough. I mean, they won. They did everything in their power. It's just past months kind of catch up to them here, right? Reject, Zeta, Crazy Raccoon have all made grand finals. 2 of them have even won one. I want to see how they respond here, because now they're going into a match where they're playing Reject, who's the #1 seed from this region, have the most points, and are locked and loaded insane semifinals here. Do they have the motivation to push through? Can they keep their eye on the prize and think about these LCQ, these world final spots? Because not only can they lock those in later, they could be real dream crushers. They could take down Reject and really shake things up in this region.
It's a really tough place for Navi to be in now, because they're just fighting for points overall, rather than just trying to get towards the Brawl Cup now. You know, their dream is over for that, but they're season dreams are still very much on. If they get forward to the finals, even if they win it, they put themselves in a great position heading on to the second half of the year. And obviously we have double points as well, so puts them in a great position, and they're not going to fall even further behind. They need to keep on getting points on the board regardless of the mid-season dreams being over. They've got to look into the bigger picture.
Exactly. The bigger picture is what counts. They don't make it to World Cup, but there's still a lot for them on the line here, going to LCQ and the World Finals later in the year. Now, we talked a lot about Stu, at least I did, for Crazy Raccoon, and the man who was playing it was Tensai. He was voted by the people at home to MVP. You can vote over at event.worldstars.com to get some Pro Rank XP in and a pin at the end of the reward track as well, so make sure to do that. Tensai as the MVP is something we've seen so often already, Kenny.
He's so good. I mean, anytime you watch this guy play, it's going to be hard not to vote for him for MVP. I feel like he handles these brawlers that require so much mechanical skill so well. Regarded as one of the best players to ever do it, so it doesn't surprise me here that the people at home crown him their MVP.
It's a really great gameplay from Tensai, I will say. Like, overall, every single player on Crazy Raccoon did their part, but I think Tensai probably going to win MVP most of the time. He is the most popular player on this roster, I feel, and also he did play incredibly well regardless.
Now, Kenny, please give me the best teaser you can possibly utter for the next semi-final, Reject versus Navi.
Reject got to right the ship. I mean, this is an opportunity to go to a third grand finals in a row. They've only won one game in the two grand finals they previously made, and the number 4 seed, somebody who's going to try and cause an upset, try and escalate themselves up the leaderboard and into any hopes of a Brawl Cup. I mean, it's shaping up to be a great match. Two really good teams. Very excited for these semifinals.
That sounds like a match I want to watch, Kenny. Thank you for that teaser. I would tune in again after a quick break.
Regions from across the globe are sending their best champions to prove to us, once and for all,
Humble, 50%, Crazy Raccoon have fallen short.
Which region is the best in the world right now? They'll compete for LCQ and World Final slots for their home region, altering the competitive landscape for the rest of this year.
So bear your flags, your patriotism, and cheer on your home region champions. 23rd to 25th of May, live from DreamHack Dallas. Get your tickets now and join the fun in person. Or watch online at event.brawlstars.com for amazing Pro Pass rewards.
You tuned in just at the right time here for the first semi-final of the East Asian Monthly Finals here. Ark, we get you back as well. Now, Reject versus Navi, how is that shaping up to go? But do you feel like it's going to be a close one?
It's going to be an exciting one regardless, I know that for sure. I think that Navi have been making some moves, but I think for CR, I'm biased, I kind of have to be a little bit. I feel like they are a team that when it comes down to getting the objective done and just locking themselves in for Brawl Cup, they're the more likely candidate. And obviously we know that Navi can't do so now, but for me, Reject are that squad that as the number 1 seed, there's a pressure that's attached to it, no doubt about it. But for them to have any possibility of being able to lock themselves in, they've got to get through this matchup. And I think that's enough to make them want to really go all the distance already and push the boat out to get this one under wraps. And from there, whatever happens, But this is really the hurdle that they can't afford to lose, and they've got to get over this and put Navi in the dust.
I think this is a huge testing month for Reject, so I'm curious to see how they handle the Sukes. Navi's a great team.
They certainly are. Reject isn't going to have it easy, and they need to fulfill their checklist still. For them, they're still the number 1 seed right now, so they should be in a comfortable position, you would think, but they never made it to an actual championship title. Always became second, or
Yeah, it's been tough. It's been really tough to watch. I mean, they're getting swept as well in the grand finals, no less last month by Zeta Division. That's not an easy defeat to kind of take on the chin. But they are definitely overdue a monthly final win, there's no doubt about it. The question is, will it be this month with what's on the line for Zeta Division, for Crazy Raccoon? You know, how do they overcome those demons on top of the ones that they already have?
they want to go to Dallas, they want to fight in the Brawl Cup, the $50,000 that are in the line there, and also the slots for World Finals and LCQ. 2 of those are certainly something that you want to play for. Now, as you mentioned, Kenny, on the other side, we have a pretty strong roster as well.
Very solid. I think they've just been a step behind what we'll call the top 3 of this region. Reject, Crazy Raccoon, and Zeta Division are 3 teams fighting for Brawl Cup. And Navi have been consistently a semifinals kind of team. They just haven't gotten that marquee win for the season yet, I don't think. And this would be a good start right here. I think pressure's on for both of these teams. Navi are slowly falling away on the leaderboard, especially if they lose the semifinals here. That would be 3 straight grand finals appearances for Reject, so points over for them. Even if Reject didn't win the grand finals, would still have a decent gap, and either Crazy Raccoon or Zeta Division have to win this next one. So Navi have to start climbing back somehow, and I think it starts right here.
Yes, Ark, so we basically planned out already how that should go here. If Reject wins, they make it into the grand finals, and they're on their way to the Brawl Cup here. If Navi wins, sadly, Brawl Cup is not on the line for them anymore, but they can still collect some points for LCQ and Worlds. So for both teams, there's a lot up for grabs still.
Yeah, absolutely so. And, you know, these are the squads that, for me, you know, the Rejects, the Crazy Raccoons, the Zeta Divisions of this region that are the most experienced, the best at keeping their nerves calm. You know, the Navi squad have had definitely some great success over the years, but, you know, especially for players like, you know, Chappie, they've not really been able to for Kuri, they've not really been able to find their footing for a while now. So, I kind of really want to see, you know, that prevail somewhat for Navi and to sort of fight back. But I feel like for what's at stake for Reject, they're going to be, you know, much fiercer than they would otherwise normally be. They're taking no chances here today. They can't afford to, and they've got so much to be able to prove now.
Heading into draft number 1 in our semi-final number 1. Here, Ben's already in. Here, Luke Chester, Stu for the side of Reject. We have Gray, Lumi, and Poker on the side of Navi. I did not expect to see Poker come out here. It is quite an open map after all, but Poker just still so strong thanks to his hypercharge, thanks to the timer on his gadgets now. He's been looking a bit stronger in the current meta than in the previous one. Now, a brawler that we've mentioned often today, Kenny, is B. She's just so good in those open maps because of her DPS, because of the gadget, and also she has received a hypercharge quite recently.
In terms of building a composition, I think B is a great start here. Range, good into tanks, a very solid brawler right now. I think in terms of consistency, going to be one of those brawlers that I'm kind of anticipating being a top 10 play this month. I don't think it started out that way, but in terms of the amount of times her name's called, wouldn't surprise me. And when I saw B, honestly, Charlie came up in my mind. Yo, Hank and Charlie, they pair these together. Again, I know this is going to shock a lot of people, but it's a brawler that's been practiced a ton in this region and on this map in particular. Some matchups that go really well, some common brawlers you're going to see on open zone are these tanks like Hank. Charlie does well into that. Bell's single shot brawler played all the time into this because of these long range sharpshooters who are single shot brawlers. You get these spiderlings, it counters them really well. And you see a lot of Poco combos in this map. Obviously that's a ban right now, but normally you're going to see Poco plus tank. Charlie deals excellently with that. I just think Charlie has a spot in this meta, and even though I don't necessarily believe the brawler itself super OP busted, I do think that balance change made just enough of a difference to get her super better.
Makes a lot of sense, you know. Obviously Hank as well, despite that little nerf to his hypercharge, I mean 50% less homing on those missiles, definitely did see a drop off, certainly so far in this region. Still every reason to try and pick it up. Certainly, I mean, for a really open map though, I just kind of expected to see some of the brawlers that are banned, not banned, actually. Like, brawlers like Stu and Poco, I kind of expected that they might have escaped through. But no, not be the case. Carl going to come in, and that's a brawler that, again, I've been going on about all day long, really, is that I'm really enjoying in the current meta, and that's, you know, always a great thing to see, very aggressive by nature, and some areas in R, which we never really kind of saw him have in the past, now coming forward as well, so making him viable for map suppose like this Meeple. That's an interesting one. Wasn't expecting to see much of Meeple today. I mean, certainly not for this region. Last month we were saying about how Meeple was such a viable brawler. Many other regions, especially like EMEA, were just using Meeple in every given scenario, basically. It's such a versatile brawler to have. Got some weaknesses, no doubt about it. East Asia was not a region that decided to pick it up very often. So it's actually quite refreshing to see them now bringing it in. Whether it's the map for it, I'm not too sure. That's the only reservation. There's not the greatest amount of cover to really utilise other than the bit that's in the middle, which is not the worst of positions, let's be honest. But I mean, in terms of range, I'm just not sure what she's able to bring in that position, that's all.
Already a hot start here for Navi. Choppy now, going to be a tanky brawler, taking space in the mid, and honestly, just being a sponge for all this damage as Kuru approaches, Melty forced away. Love the response. They see Charlie, an earlier pick, and they go Amber and Carl. I think Amber has relevance because Charlie is relevant, and I think Carl is just so good. Being able to pierce through all of the spiderlings is really valuable. Batman now dropping a hypercharged super, cleans up here, and now Reject have an opportunity to take some of this zone, at least until that cutoff point. Beautifully played by Briohi.
Yeah, buying just a little bit of time themselves, but again, too much more than that. Hank on the left hand side, not to be able to make much of a play now as Shu shuts that idea down with a huge slow. Rattled Hive as well, just to force the positioning as Kuru's forced back on the right hand side as well. So far Reject doing a wonderful job getting things back under control. Good connection from a Chavi, but dwindling down now, the slow as well is really crucial. Allows Shu to get that pickup. Those spiderlings that are coming in has to be taken care of by Melty. She wants to retain that ability to have that amplify shot hand.
Love that they spaced the floor a little bit there. Reject sends Batman right, Melty's working that left-hand lane, and Shu is just a good instigator in this mid. The hypercharge being popped, nearly grabs a Choppy, but Ryohi for now will hold his own. Another cube going down, traps Batman, but more importantly, makes him very safe inside that cube so we can gain a few extra percentage points in seconds. A Choppy getting dangerously close. The homing missiles connect. Will be a slowdown to Kuru and a Choppy, so it's a trade, but still a small lead here for Reject. This is an important battle right here. Kuru needs to find a way to win this, and it's just getting tough, especially now with the blown super.
She's playing so well. These big B slows and shots that are landing are really, really quite welcomed by the synergy as well between the teammates to allow others to pick up the mantle is working out well. But now one final chance to fight things back for Navi. A nice positioning there with the dice, and now it's going to force then reaches the left-hand side. Melty's sneaking through that bush as well, has super to hand, going in now, getting some good value onto a Chappy. There's to get that Rattled Hive with Shu just connecting so nicely to that right-hand side of Kuru. Oh, flying hook though, shut down by Navi, and now 92%, all three members on the zone. They've stolen it from the clutches of Reject, who are doing so well to maintain some form of control.
That Meeple gadget is tough to deal with. It's just so interesting to me because I don't think Meeple obliterates opponents with damage, but I feel like it's somebody that I love clicking in my ranked games because you make such a direct impact on the way that map is shaped. On this map, you're definitely going to be wanting to drop the cube, and I know it's wide open, but just look at that previous one, for example. They can cut off that left-hand side, that right-hand side. They can secure some isolated lanes, give themselves some 2v1 matchups, or they can just be a nuisance. Look at this. They're going to be able to dip their pinky toes in here, and Shu is forced away. They have no way to get over these walls, so every time they grab that gadget, they buy themselves a beat, get a little extra time, and can try and grab a frag or just a little bit better positioning.
Melty already shutting this left-hand side down heavily, burning some bush as well, leaving nowhere for this Hank to go. On the right-hand side now, Kuru falls through, he low as well. Batman will be able to pick him up so swiftly. Actually, super there, probably didn't even need to, but taking no chances is not the worst of things, considering the position that Reject are now in. Being behind for that game was not the plan. That's Dice is going to break off the bush line there as well, which will provide the crossover. Already there, that left-hand side taken care of again by Melty. It's giving a lot of space, and now Reject are tearing forward 70% now, and Navi haven't had a look in.
One team wipe and Reject is punishing Navi right now. I think on this map, especially when you have no real mobility or way to get up the map quickly, there's no jump pad or anything to get you there a little bit faster, no teleport from Gray, it's just your own 2 feet, and it's an absolute steamroll coming out of Reject. Polar opposite game. Reject did not fumble this time. No, they took away the lead the entire time.
Wow. I mean, when you drop a game, that's the way you want to bounce back. That's going to give a tremendous lift now for Reject going into this final match of this first set. Especially when you consider how close that first one really was, and just, losing control in those final moments. It's got to be a thing that's going to sting on your brain going into the next matches. But very, very commendable from Reject. But can they keep it up? That's the question, because Navi have already proven that this comp is a problem child for them to have to deal with. So let's see. Good aggression from Melty, balancing his time really nicely there as well. And now Batman coming in with further aggression onto the Hank. Oh, and this is much the same story as we saw in that last game where Reject fought back in tremendous fashion, gaining control, getting the team out and wiped down. Navi might struggle to retake this now.
I think so too. I mean, that's a pretty perfect start for Reject. Obviously, a little more percentage points for Navi compared to our game number 2. But look, Kuru is rendered useless. I've been praising Charlie, at least in terms of the choices. I think overall it's been good. But this is a perfect way of handling it. You've got Carl and Amber, who has the distance, the coverage, can handle the spiderlings. It's just no longer a threat. Choppy stuck in his own cube. His teammate locked him in, and an easy rattled hive to connect here. And Reject are just running away with it once again. They've got time, focus. Bataman's cocoon doesn't even matter. Navi just have to find a way to get some miraculous kills.
Choppy going straight into the hands there of a lovely hypercharge from Shu, and this B pick is working out so well. It's my favourite brawler at the moment in terms of the meta, and it's just lovely to see it play to perfection. 80 HP healing up and almost escaped there. The Hank bubble. Now one final chance realistically here for Navi to make a final stand on the zone. It's not impossible here. Melts slow here. He goes down, which he does. This opens up some doors here for Navi to bring back control. Batman and Shu going to try their best on the left-hand side, but those dice is going to break that cusp on the bush yet again, and that's going to make things much harder for Reject to creep forwards.
We talked about it in game number 2. Reject had possession of the mid. They had the other side all the way in their back lines. Same rules apply for Navi, but it's a closer call. Bataman explodes with that hypercharge. A cocoon goes down as well, and now Bataman has to focus on saving a teammate, but it may lead him to his inevitable demise. The slowdown, a Choppy falls, low HP for Reject, 95 and climbing. They cube him in, secure it. Rio, he misses the shot, and Reject hold on. What a thriller of an opening set.
It's a spicy one. It's a spicy one. Everything we hoped for as our opening semi-finals. I mean, just imagine if that Hank had had a hypercharge in those final moments as well. That would have been a team wipe, and that may have been the deciding moment. But so close. A lot to unpack.
As talent on the broadcast, we always love to go to see some very close matches and to go all the way to cast every single game. So this looks like we're going to see some maybe set 4 and set 5 action later on. It was really, as you said, Kenny, a thriller of the first game.
Shu, a huge part of that too. I'm a fan of B in the meta, but I think Shu is honestly phenomenal with that brawler in that set. Especially into something like a Charlie, it can be overly difficult, but I like the lane assignments. They really focus the Amber on the Charlie, because I think, again, because Charlie is now relevant, well, Amber's going to take a rise too. That's a direct countermeasure into that brawler, and I think a really well played one. It also fits the map. So I think just a beautifully played draft from Reject. Tank has honestly been a sneaky popular pick, honestly shows up a lot in the early drafts, so I think having B in your back pocket as good general brawler, that's who they locked in first. They see the other side, pick this Charlie, and I think one thing last month they got away from, for example, in that grand finals, Shade shows up. They have no way to deal with this seemingly random, seemingly unpopular brawler that Zeta Division just did so well, and I think that's a great adjustment here. They were ready for the Charlie. Charlie's been unpopular, but they had a game plan, they utilized it, and honestly performed pretty well. Navi's a good team, but I'm really liking what Reject are doing so far.
Reject showing up with one of the best performances here, especially on that B. Don't get me wrong, I feel like she's a bit overlooked still at the moment. She's one of the best brawlers you can really have, especially on such an open map, but Shu made her work so well. Yeah, really, for me, the MVP in that round. Now heading over to Pinhole Pond, another map where I feel like B could be a very strong option here. In any case, you just want to have some tank counters in your hand, or tanks yourself, Ark. What do you feel like are we going to see here?
Probably a B-ban, the way that she played it. I mean, as many kills as the entirety of Navi, just to put it into some form of perspective, on his own back. I mean, that's just kind of insane, especially when you consider how that first game went, and it was kind of looking bleak. It looked like Navi were looking very much in control. So to bring things back the way that they did was really quite good. Yeah, and there it is, actually banned out by Reject. So not afraid to take their own best off the table. You love to see it. Lumi, of course, still banned, as it has been all day long. Would like to see her creep through, but I just don't think it would be wise. I think it would be a big blunder to see it actually kind of in a draft scenario in the current situation. If you're not aware, Lumi is like the number one. She just is. You know, in terms of her kit, there's no reason to really deviate away from one specific star power and gadget. So it's just best to kind of stay well clear at the moment. Chester coming coming through again. Really just seemed to be very much up there as a first brawler pick in East Asia. And I'm growing a bit more warmed towards it, I won't lie. Buster banned, the Meeple and the Charlie as well banned out here. And Kenny, we said it a couple of times today, that the Charlie pick is being made like very high priority, first pick, now banned out. I mean, I know you're ready for it.
I am. I think it depends on the context. Again, I don't necessarily think it's a top 5 brawler in the game or anything, but I just think it has a lot of favorable matchups. There's a lot of maps that it actually works out pretty well. When I see Stu, I think Charlie is definitely eligible for the other side. It's a brawler that has shown up quite a bit, obviously in the advanced stage now, so we're going to ignore it. We're not going to have to worry about it. Buster, another popular one that enters the band stage here. I've seen a lot of Poco Frank combos specifically on this map, so I'm curious what these teams go for. They're going to settle for Carl. I think this is a pretty dependable left-hand side here on this 2-3 turn. I don't think they've locked themselves in any particular strategy. They've just got 2 pretty solid brawlers. Carl on the rise, Stu maybe a little decline compared to last month, but I still think very relevant.
I think Carl is that brawler which is never going to get banned necessarily. It's not really like that bannable offensive brawler which is just causing big meta issues right now. But I mean, the play rate and the success rate, no doubt, to follow from having that brawler is going to be very much on the high side. Poker going to come in for Navi. Again, I think a brawler is being slept on a little bit. It's kind of like banned in the majority of settings where it can really thrive, but it's very circumstantial, very situational. So you're going to combine something with it, and that's the brawler to combine with it. Yeah, it was making no sense to have a Poker with Chester. So Frank going to come in. The Chester now makes a lot of sense as to why it was that first pick brawler in the meta. But there's some options here for reject. I would go with Colette myself here, honestly, or Ollie, and just kind of be a big problem and a big nuisance with the Hypnosis as well on that front, and the Carl pairing with that. If you get 2 under Hypnosis and they're lined up, the Carl gets double value, especially then if you add in that heat injector gadget as well. You can basically just wipe out 2/3 of the team by that combination alone. So they're going to go for a surge. Okay, I mean, obviously it's very heavy into Frank and it's going to get a ton of value. You can't really ever play a surge into this kind of comp and not be able to get heavily and quickly off your stacks to have that additional range, have that additional movement speed, and of course, some goal-making opportunities, being able to hop in at the last second moment, just have that knockback, regain the possession of the ball and sink the goal. I'm liking this from Reject. The surge is not dropped off by any means, maybe in terms of the play rates, but certainly not in terms of his ability to take control of the situation and just be a real menace. Hypercharge too, it's disgusting.
Should be free supers for Melty. It's somebody that I kind of forgot about due to the play rate dropping so much. They were running out of anti-tank options, and Lou is no longer an option because of the Poco. That's why it's such a nasty combo, because Lou's freeze just rendered useless by a simple gadget from Poco. So if you see Poco, Lou is no longer in play. Pass forward to Choppy, wide open net, and Bataman just can't slide over in time. Great footwork coming out of Navi here early.
Just a little mistake there from shooting. He was doing so well prior to that. So look at the effectiveness there of the heat ejector gadget, just forcing in a whole Navi squad back. And he's almost down there to just a glimmer of HP, 822 there above his head. Chappie's been really sneaky. He was the person that was able to really make the moment happen for that goal as well. So keep an eye on him. Kuru's got the hypercharge as well, but I don't think that Melty can really get to this ball so far. Batman comes back alive though off the back of that offensive maneuvering around the goal side. Can Reject now make something of this?
That was a cheeky play out of Bataman. They popped a super from Frank. He slid to the right with the Carl super and then went right for him with that hypercharge and got a double kill out of it. Ryohi now trying to defend, but he is useless against somebody like Melty, who can jump in, has the range, especially at this tier 4. And now Shu's skating up and down the map he goes, flanking left-hand side. Ryohi trying to deal with multiple brawlers, but there's so many different angles. Bataman right, slicing through him. Shu diving in on the left-hand side. Now Melty, the ball carrier. Bataman passes it forward, slides one through. It's going to be punched away, but Melty should be able to walk this in. Oh, I think that's a mistake. Ryohi can now kick this away, buy him a little bit of time. Would have liked to see a super shot there, but now a Choppy can defend.
Yeah, certainly that was an opportunity that Reject needed to seize, and as such, chance to defend. 45 seconds though is a healthy amount of time to do so. But if Navi play this well and pocket the ball and just are able to really cause a problem here, might not be as straightforward as it looks to get it out that pocket. Ryohi's being whistled down by Melty, but Hypercharge is going to have to be utilised pretty swiftly by Melty. It's Batman who's causing so much havoc for his team. in a really nice manner, but they've got to get this ball. 20 seconds now, and time is ticking. A nice super smash from Rio, who opens up some space, but he is low. He goes down. A 1 versus 3 now, and surely Reject don't miss this one up. Team wipe, the pass through, it's got to be there. No mistakes made. We're going to overtime.
And with overtime, we've got a Poco combo with Frank. Chester is not a long-range brawler and now a speed zone. And Batman with a pickaxe connects with Ryohi. That is going to shred right through him. Shu barely holding on. Guru does have a super available, but another hypercharge available now for Stu. Moving up the map, breakaway right-hand side kick over Batman. Trying to drop a kill and an easy punch through for Melty. Reject, hold on. Get the 2 goals necessary and we'll win this game.
Batman there again, he's in all the right places at all the right times, isn't he? I mean, even when the camera's low down following the action, he's up the top of the map, just going crazy and coming back to help his team out. And certainly it wasn't the smoothest of games, that's got to be said for Reject there, and there's definitely every opportunity for Navi to put something on the board here for themselves and take this to a third game even. But yeah, certainly for Reject, a couple of moments there which should have been cleaner. Let's see though if they can shake that off already. I mean, look how much they fed Melty. He's almost on full stacks.
I think it's just impossible not to feed the Surge if you're a Frank, and it honestly Surge a very good matchup, I would say. Into the Poco, into Chester, I think pretty neutral, does just fine. But that jump and the extra leap that Melty gets is so good. Nonetheless, though, Navi, full house, all the supers available here. A Choppy going to be dropping one. Ryohi just trying to bolster his way through, use all of his health points to just march this one forward. Not enough, though. He's going to have to recharge. Now Shu can just dump this one away, and it's back into Choppy's hands.
Big, heavy hit from Melty. All those 2 taps that followed up would have been definitely a lot cleaner if it landed those, and would have been a lot more of a problem for Navi. Maybe even push the ball forwards and make something of that moment. Oh, that was scary, actually. The Batman does secure it quite comfortably there. That Cole, obviously, pretty much the perfect brawler to do so. Nice angle there on that heat ejector gadget as well, and it's going to take care of Ryohi, but Melty's got those 2. We can't really get the pass scores there to Shu. Like to have done so for sure. Hypercharge causing problems yet again. Navi are definitely struggling, it seems, this game.
Definitely so. It's not going to be a great one for the KD if you're a Ryohi in this set in general. Definitely some tough matchups here between the Stu, the Carl, and the Surge, but they hold down the 4. They want to roll with this Poco Frank, but it's getting melted through right now. Stu, ball in hand, an extra little stunt on him, grabs the kill, a little extra time. Oh, just taunting him, shaving down the seconds on that clock, and it still went through.
Yeah, he had me going there. Genuinely, I thought, is he disconnected? This is kind of a bit fine. Let's see the response from Navi is fierce, but there's a good knockback from Melty. It might be enough, but Shu's a struggle here in a 1 versus 3. Yeah, just goes to the corner, allows it to happen. That's the response you need from Navi. They took that really, really personal. That BM did not go down well.
I think that's a direct result of having all of those supers and hypercharges ready to go as an entire unit, but they don't have that anymore. They have to recharge it. Guru has one in the back pocket, clicking it now. Purple button connects with all of his teammates, and Ryoki just buying his time. Grabbing this indestructible wall while he can. It's a full house for Reject as now they slide through. Batman, though, forced away. Shu with the super shot corner. Perfect precision. Bang! Reject take a set.
The absolute thread of that needle was perfect. Not an easy thing to make happen, especially not under pressure. And Reject do it in style. Lovely stuff, and you can see what it means to Melty in his face. I mean, that guy's pretty chill the majority of the time. He's got maximum aura, and suddenly bringing a smile to the mix. You'd love to see it.
That must have been the smoothest goal in all of the BSC that we've witnessed this year. Really, really well done. You can see the Stu just circling around that wall for the longest time. He was just waiting for those walls to break down. He was so ready, and that plan also working out in the end. Beautiful. I really have to say, every time I casted this map in recent times, I've seen Poco double tank come back. I've seen Poco tank and Chester specifically. The comp works so well because even if you have a tank on the other side that might counter out your own, here the Frank could have been easily countered by an Ash, by a Buster, anything really, an Ollie as well. But with that Chester in your lines, they basically denied the Reject from going at tank here, and their comp still worked out, even though, again, we see a lot of Poco tank Chester right now. Reject has an answer towards it, and they didn't need the tank themselves, which is quite impressive to me. I did not see that happen in recent times.
The Poco Frank is honestly a tried, tested, and successful composition, but this is another example here in 2 straight sets where there's a little bit of a different strategy, something that you have to be ready for, one of those things I think you have to prep for in a draft stage coming into a monthly finals, and this team was ready to go. This is a perfect 3 brawlers to deal with this enemy composition, and Shu just having the heads up, the perfect timing to throw that ball top right-hand side, because even if he loses a super, it's Stu. He can recharge it so easily. Why not lob up a shot? And just the mechanics all around, just good stuff. I mean, this reject roster looks like the real deal.
That's the beauty of Stu, or also sometimes Melody on Brawl Ball. You always get your super back, or you have another one ready, so you can risk those shots, and if it works out, you can make it seem like that was planned anyways, and yeah, just well done on Reject's behalf here. It was a closer match than the 2-0 I just suggest here, though. I really felt like we had some moments from Navi that made them really shine. Their comp almost worked out, but somehow Reject just had a perfect answer and closed it out in overtime.
Yeah, it was honestly such a joyous game to watch go down, and Reject then again making a couple of mistakes here and there, not huge ones, but things that they could have maybe capitalized better down on. But they're recovering very, very swiftly from it. It's like water's off the duck's back. You know, even that goal, they kind of like started on the goal line just to kind of rub the salt into the wound. Immediately went down badly, right? But then they were able to recover and score that as well. And you think, wow, okay, this is a squad that can really recover mentally, and that can't be said for, you know, even some of the best teams in the world. So, you know, we can see it spiral down and even reverse sweeps off the back of moments like that. So, really does feel like the stars might be aligning just a little bit for Reject. Still early days, it's the semi-finals, but, you know, as their confidence continues to grow off the back of these big, heavy set wins, especially when you can see, like, the nature of their gameplay being as strong as it is. You know, you got to ask yourselves, like, can Reject do, like, the impossible? I mean, for now, Navi aren't out of the question regardless of this series. So Navi got to strike back hard, and it doesn't feel like that's kind of the way the wind might be blowing currently. But as we know, one singular draft can be all it takes to really kind of get yourself back in the game and reset yourselves.
Big test for Navi right now. Reject are fighting for everything. I mean, Brawl Cup on the line. They know they're going to have to win a grand finals if they want to go. And the pressure is certainly there for them, and they've handled it quite well. I've been really impressed with how they've been drafting so far. Obviously, the mechanics we know are good. But, Sonny, when it comes down to this Hard Rock Mine, Ark's point, one good draft sometimes all you need.
It really is. Hard Rock Mine, it's going to be the first time we see this map today, actually. Not a single time played so far. And I'm just thinking, I'm scratching my head here, what could we have as a gem carry here? Because Ark, we talked about it so often today, how this region just tends to pick some brawlers as gem carry that we didn't really expect to see. We didn't have a Jean, for example. We didn't have any of those long-range brawlers that we are usually seeing as gem carry. Is it going to be a Carl again, for example?
I hope not. I want to see Jean. I mean, that would make the most sense to me. Vision, gear it up.
Yeah,
let's go back to East Asia, just like traditional, you know, like straight down the line kind of stuff. But you know, Carl certainly was not the plan for Navi early today. But to be fair, to their credit, I mean, they handled it surprisingly well to come out on top and just to adapt under the circumstances. I wouldn't mind seeing a Carl, but just hopefully not in mid.
I think that's fair, and I think Stu's going to be a pretty good all-arounder. A couple brawlers I've seen in this region quite a bit on this map. Meeple, one that I'm looking out for here. I think on Hard Rock Mine, this actually might be one of his better ones. And then Juju as a thrower is a sneaky later pick. I don't necessarily expect that on a 2-3 turn, and especially now that Stu's showing up, they're going to have to consider things. Here's the Meeple. I just think it makes so much sense. A controller on this map, and again, Meeple's so interesting to me because he's not the heaviest hitter, doesn't have the most health points. He's kind of in a realm of his own, but just the way he can control a game, shape a game, put players in bad spots, put his teammates in good spots. I feel like if you're good and you really learn the mechanics with Meeple, it really helps the team out, and I think Reject are going to try and take advantage of that here to give themselves some extra gems and some extra kills.
Yeah, it's the nature of the gadget as well. Those dice, when just laid on the bush, just immediately just open things up, and you just know exactly what side of the crossover your opponent is going to be, you know, waiting amongst. So it really does change the game very, very quickly. B coming in for Rejects, I think it's a fantastic mid. I think it's even better in the hands of Shu. Of course, the brawlers can shift around depending upon the names that we see on the screen, but I mean, based upon how we saw him really championing that brawler in Hot Zone already today, getting as many kills just to himself himself as the entirety of Navi, and that was the brawler that I was waiting for as well. For me, Ollie's a great pickup here for Navi. There's still a bit of time for maybe Reject to have a counter in their minds, but Ollie can change the nature of the game, you know, and certainly with certain star powers, you know, being able to have additional movement speed and things like that on a map like this can go such a long way. Add to that some additional speed gear as well, and you've got a really aggressive, in-your-face brawler that can literally hypnotize you, bring you out into the open, and have your teammates come in to help out. Stu as well, definitely going to have that speed zone to add to that equation too. So, I mean, Bell mid. I was going to talk about Bell mid, but I thought maybe we'd kind of past that kind of meta. But it seems like, yeah, it's still an option. The nest eggs, of course, can do a good job of allowing that ability to deter flanks too. So there's that to consider.
I wonder if this is a buster game for the left-hand end here. I just feel like it's one of the better options to deal with Ollie. We've got some projectiles going between Bell and Stu, and they kind of need that flare of aggression. Seems like a really good spot for me here, because Ollie's one of those that doesn't have a ton of hard counters, especially tanks in the game, but two of the better ones are going to be Buster and Jackie, and I'm not expecting a Jackie here by any means, so that's where I'm going. Chester is going to be their pick. Does have that flare of aggression. I was kind of just looking for someone with maybe some more health points, Arc, to be honest with you. You do see that Bell, though. You do see the Stu on the other end. Not necessarily the easiest, but I just feel like once Buster gets going there, that might have been a good call, but I still think Chester's a good shout.
No, I like the call, honestly. I wouldn't have been opposed to Buster by any means at all. Kind of curious as to who comes out on top in that interaction. It's going to be definitely a close one down to the wire, for sure. You know, Ollie, again, still very much a danger, I would say, regardless as to whatever rejects we're going to consider to have as a counter option for it. I wouldn't even mind something like a surge pick either, to be honest, but there's Ryohi creeping forwards. I don't think he's running any additional speed there, so star power-wise, we'll be running with Renegade then. But certainly, I think that it's going to be a problem that Rejects have got to stay on top of, and already, you know, being stuck down that left-hand side, causing some issues, getting a takedown as well. That's going to put pressure onto Melty and Shoot.
Melty's going to have a tough time here, especially now that Ryohi is so close to him. He has a super available, especially with a recharge gadget. That's a perfectly RNG'd super there, so Padme is actually going to take advantage. Sometimes with the Mad Hatter, he pulls out the right trick out of the hat. That's the one that they needed. Shu on this other end, though, not going to have too much of a chance. He's actually running the other gadget, which is an interesting call. So he gets this done, buys enough time, and does ultimately make a trade. So Melty able to extend for this fourth gym.
Nice jukes there from Melty. Quick shoes to be able to dodge that mark from Kuru. Now trying to connect with the rest of Hyper, gets back a handful of nothing. Look at Ryohi on this right hand side as well. 12,000 plus HP there with the helping hand of the shield gear as well. Batman now hypercharged, so would like to get paid off here with maybe a double, but Kuru is very much aware to it. Nest egg popped on the left hand side by Shu, but be cautious there as he is slowed and susceptible to damage. Now the hypercharge goes out, huge hit there onto Kuru, and not done yet, follows up, and Vince is looking for a double, but I wasn't expecting it quite like that, running away with the gems. What a play from Reject.
Double super with one hypercharge and Melty with the follow-through shot. Ryohi has to be the hero. Has hypnosis available. Needs to dive forward. That's a nice tag. A jump, but will be slowed down. Melty holds on. Takes to that back left-hand side. And now Reject just one game away from another chance at a grand finals.
I mean, that's the power of a brawler coming into the mix with a hypercharge, isn't it? You know, that's the thing to consider here, because I thought that Navi had a pretty good firm hold on that game. I think that Ollie was working out tremendously well, giving a real issue towards Reject, and that's all credit there to the top right-hand side. Now they swap lanes, they want to stay onto that side of things, whereas I don't know why for me, because I think it worked out better for Navi. Yeah, really now going back to the left-hand side, but the Batman Chester now just trying to mirror that idea. But certainly, you know, I think again the scoreline, Navi deserve a set for me at this present moment in time. Now I thought it was going to come from this set, but the way that Reject recovered was quite commendable. Can they do that twice? That's the thing, because Navi have got 6 gems, and Reject don't seem to be in this game. It was just like a bit of a quick turnaround, which was able to get it done last game.
Bell with a pretty solid matchup into B, so all things considered, I feel like Melty's playing this pretty well. Now that Navi have more possession, they can drop those nest eggs, get a little bit of control, but if Shu keeps popping off the way he is, and Batman has the position he has, Reject may be able to claw their way back into this one.
Yeah, I agree, for sure. Kuru now is a gem carry. You don't want to be on the left-hand side, not at all, but can't really find his way forwards. Wants to use the pushes, but then is getting tapped up by both Shu and Melty. So watch out for the Ollie now. Ryohi is creeping around again. This is where he's very, very dangerous. Good connection from Kuri. That'll bounce into Melty, who is marked, by the way, as well. So, again, gotta be cautious. Nice hypnosis from Rio. He's slowed now, but staying a real menace. Allowing a Cherry to come through as well. Has got the dash to escape. It's wonderful stuff from Navi. They need one more gem now as well. Rio going down is not the end of the world, because there's the spawn that they need. And the countdown commences for Navi.
Reject need to climb their way up the map. No quick way up there. Now a hypercharge for Kuru. Marks Bataman. There's the tag. Another nest egg goes down, and there's no safe place to walk. Rattle Tide just out of arm's reach as Ryohi and Achapi can play defense, buy themselves a little bit of time, and more importantly, extend this match. It's going to be 1-1 in our set number 3. A second match point opportunity now for Reject.
Great stuff, and this gives me confidence in what I initially thought in this set, in that Navi had the control. They made a mistake, a blunder in that first game, a costly one, with Batman being able to utilise that hypercharge and escape with the gems, but that was a much more convincing game. So they've been able to just tarnish a little bit of the ego of Reject there, but as we've seen, that's something which doesn't seem to affect Reject too much. They're able to recover quite well from these situations, but it's the draft that worries me. The Ollie is the problem. They take care of Ryohi now. Top left hand side, Batman going in as well. The Shu survives as well too, so much better start really here for Reject. 3 gems on the board to the 2 there of Navi.
Even with Batman going down, they bought themselves some time, extended Shu a little bit, and all the health points of Ryohi will scare Shu away. He's going to rotate towards this left-hand side, going to be taking on the much squishier Stu, who's not a squishy brawler by any means, so still plenty of work to be done. Achapi being tacked up, now a super. Speed zone to block things out. Achapi diving forward, Shu goes down immediately. Ryohi flanking on this right-hand side. The Rattled Hive connects, will reveal his positioning, but Batman now has to protect his teammate at all costs.
Oh, Melty couldn't quite find it. Achapi still got such an aggressive position here, right into the middle of things. Both Shu and Melty low here, and Achapi finds the left. Melty's got the gems. Oh, speed zone just a little bit late there for Achapi, but he's going to survive on nonetheless. Slow connects now onto the Ollie, but Melty only finds 1 tap out of the 3. Now gets the Ollie taken care of. Melty in the middle gets the gems, ricocheting some shots, but this is so close, and you can just feel it, can't you? Navi have got so much on the line now to stay alive in this series. Match point for Reject, 3 gems away from a countdown. This is the final stand for Navi, and they're looking pretty good in this set, so I wouldn't be surprised if they're able to come out on top.
Navi on their final life, and I think Reject, you gotta get a little nervous if they drop this one and extend this match. It's a hypercharge, a tag, and a takedown. Shu low HP, down to 100 health points. Do they know? Ryohi trying to move in and grab this kill. They find it. The gem spill. Achapi grabs them, and now a hypercharge is a getaway option. The runaway car to the top right-hand side. He's all wheels. Batman now has to move forward, but with 5 seconds to go, a slowdown of that nest egg, even a hypercharge isn't enough. Navi extend, and we will be going to set 4.
And deservedly so, you know. I think that Navi have been brewing this for some time, and the draft was clearly a winning one. You could tell from that very first instance, and it was just that mistake that was the costly one, but they were able to reset and knew within themselves that they had an opportunity to survive on, to deny a match point scenario situation. So now, this is where things get very interesting, because it's already a spicy series as it is.
We wanted to see a very close semi-final, and there we have it. Finally, we get to see a set 4. It would have been the 4th 3-0 today that we've seen. So, yeah, I'm really happy. Navi finally showing up with what they really can do. They did take a game in open zone. Now they finally take a set as well. And we also see in the sets why that happened. Choppy just with a whopping 9 kills, took up a lot of gems as well. Not only Kura that played a phenomenal gem carry here in this map. Overall, I just really felt like they, as soon as Ryohei put some pressure on them with his Ollie, the first round, they didn't really know how to react to it. The second and third round, then they just kept him under control.
Outside of this pop-off play here from Batman in that game number 1, I really felt like Navi were in control for most of that set, and I think a lot of that has to do with their draft. I think Ollie went underestimated there. I think that's something that Reject would have had to address, and in these first 2 sets, I feel like Reject had an answer to everything, and this time, I just don't think they had the perfect one. I like Chester, obviously, who's the pop-off and the reason why they won that game number 1, but I think maybe there were some better choices out there in hindsight. I think that's tough. I maybe would have liked to seen some more health points, but that's getting real nitpicky, but that's what it takes if you want to be the best in this region, especially for a team competing against Navi.
Yeah, again, Ollie putting up so much pressure, Bell standing strongly mid, picking up all those gems, and then a choppy unders too, just going behind the sidelines as well, and manages to win his lane constantly, pick up a couple of kills and a couple of gems, stealing them away. Just really well executed overall from Navi. Now heading into pit stop arc, my alarm bank just rings again. I just, hear his shade in my head. Let's see if he's actually going to be picked up.
Well, this is the thing for me, right? I was watching from my break on the sidelines to see our matchup, and it wasn't banned or picked. It is banned now for good reason, but I couldn't believe it. I mean, obviously some of the brawlers that were picked in that series caused a reason as to why it wasn't on the table, but it was a surprising thing to kind of see in a map like Pit Stop that brawler not as heavily considered. But good to see the rejects are a bit more savvy to it. I think there's warrant, for a lot of these bans. Actually, I think the Edgar and the Cordelius are really up there as well. Lumi, I mean, it's going to be pretty much banned by whoever doesn't have the coin toss here today. That's just the nature of her as a brawler and how strong she is in the current meta. And I think will be the case for all the other regions as well. I think everyone is all aligned with the fact that she is the must-brand brawler. Now, the melody coming in opens up some doors for sure. And brawlers tend to get often much play seen in high speed. She's often so much banned. On this map, it's a bit more challenging to get her to the save as some others, but she can absolutely do so with this 3 dashes available to her. Carl, Buzz, this is screaming dive comp for me on the side of Navi here, and I hope that Rejects have got an answer for it in terms of the defense.
I'm thinking Daryl here for this left-hand side, to be honest with you. I think it'd be a good matchup into Buzz, traditionally a good one into the Carl. Melody, I think, is a very safe first pick, somebody that just does so much high safe damage, left uncontested. But we'll see how this goes. El Primo on my radar as well here. I think Tank is just the name in the game right now. There's one of the two that I listed. I think El Primo's just a flashy, good brawler. I think both these sides are just kind of focused on the base race aspect. I don't mind this at all. I think just so many health points can have an easy dive in, similar to why Edgar's banned here. Obviously, Edgar a little squishier, but does some lethal damage on that high safe. El Primo's similar, just a little beefier, and maybe not quite the same amount of damage. There's that Charlie. Yeah, I feel like you have to. This is even before Charlie got that balance change. This is somebody with the cocoon, the spiderlings that's been so good into these tanky brawlers.
This is not the biggest of balance changes though for Charlie. I'm still surprised to have seen it this much, considering it's still a healthy one, don't get me wrong at all. I mean, the supercharge rate going from 7 down to 6 shots, I mean, that's definitely favourable, no doubt about it. If you're Navi in this scenario, do you really want to base race this? You've just been able to survive the set. It's a very all or nothing approach. It puts Rejects into a position where you might just kind of get a bit of a free 5th and final set, and increase the pressure cooker off the back of this. But it's definitely risky. You don't really want to be going in with comps like this, because it could really lead to those really high percentile or post percentile differences, I should say. And I'm all for it here as a viewer and a caster, no doubt about it. Give me the base race all day long, but certainly I am just a bit worried for both sides here, and it's going to come down to really the balancing act of this aggression versus defense.
Put it in your minds, if you see Charlie, anticipate that Amber's a real possibility. It's just a direct answer, and that's why Cooper's going to land it immediately. Melty with a win on this left-hand side. Batman being melted away by this insane incendiary that comes out of that Carl gadget. Melty just slowly loading up, getting these musical notes going, and more importantly, getting that super. A perfect dive from Ryoki. A choppy now on the other end. Thousands piling up, but Kuru has to play defense against El Primo and a Melty. That could get tough. A perfect gadget pop down the other side. Plenty of damage pouring in. Navi with an explosive start here, and they're looking to extend to Choppy, trying to hold on for dear life. One little super here from Kuru may be enough to melt it down. 960s piling up. I think it'll be close, but not quite.
Can you imagine? A nice dash away from Melty. He's getting close, but he's shut down. There's a Primo jump going in. The Carl of a Chappie does find a takedown. Do these shots land from Melty? Can he find it? No! Painfully close though. And it is going to be a game going the way of Navi. I was worried coming into this match that they might be opening the doors to an unfavourable base race, but they've proven me wrong. Can they do it again? But imagine if that Melody shot had connected. If he'd just been a little bit closer. It wasn't by any fault of his own. It was just simply that the Carl had the upper hand there. But if they'd been able to protect that 1% and keep the game alive, it would have been so entertaining. Let's see, though, whether we can see a bit more back and forth, a bit less base racy. But I'm all for it if it comes down to it. Give me a close one. Give me a 1% difference. Or a tie at 0%. I'm here for that.
You drive a hard bargain, Ark. I won't complain either. It's going to be Shu on the Charlie, on defense. Kuru certainly got his values worth in that opening game. A great 6th pick and a direct answer. Oh, and the cocoon pops off there too. Now Batman and Shu can line up the shots. Ryohei falls. Achapi, meanwhile, though, getting free damage. He's just been sitting on this top right-hand corner to the point where Batman has to pop a gadget just to back him away.
Yeah, it's good aggression. Good start for Navi. He now has super. He'll be able to go in. But to find Batman, who's dancing around this cover. Melty saw a little bit of an opening, decided better of it. The dancing flames gadget again for Amber's very, very punishing. So you've got to be cautious to stay well clear of that. Now on the safe, probably not going to get too much because the shield off, but not too much more than that. Now it's dangerous here for the rejects, especially if Rio can get on the safe. But no, that cocoon again, really warranting that Charlie pick. It's working out pretty well. Rio will go down there just about as well, but that's still a commendable amount of damage early on for Navi. They are in the lead by about double that of what Reject have been able to achieve. And now a hypercharge blast coming in. Is it a scary prospect coming? Oh my word, the connection is there, and a Chappie survives on hypercharge 2, and possibly a gadget on the safe could be devastating here.
Just so much pressure from Navi, left-hand side, right-hand side, Kuru on defense, all around. Everybody is firing. Melty trying to go down the sideline here. Shu puts him in a cocoon, and now going to be moving forward. They have to focus to Carl. It's been tough for El Primo. We haven't really seen him on offense much, and I feel like that's a huge contributor that they're wasting. He gets the kill on Ryohei, but they're just chipping away at this heist safe. Reject needs some serious output.
I love that from Shu, that ability to connect with the cocoon. He knew he was one shot away from it and just had to spam it out and got it done. And it puts actually Reject in a very favourable position now in the mid. And if Melty can just close the gap and get on that second, he's got the hypercharge too. It could be over very, very quickly, but there's not much time left. 10 seconds now coming in, and he comes with a Hail Mary. Gets one, but can't get two. Batman stays alive, and this could be it. Reject hit on the safe, and look at it getting absolutely decimated. The base race is not going to be there at all. There's a defense. There's a potential defense still, though no one on the other side of the field. Oh my word, that was so close. You can see it from Melty's face. He knew it. He looked shook, but it does mean the Reject survival in this set. He can barely believe it himself. Almost shaking, not out of nerves, but just out of anticipation, because he knows what it will mean to get this next game done and dusted and leave Navi literally in the dust. Match point for Reject. Navi still holding on, but only just.
This is the third match point now for Reject. They have to close out. If this goes to a set 5, all the momentum in the world for Navi, and a reverse sweep would be devastating, not only for Brawl Cup, but for the season as a whole. A dive through, but only 5% mustered from that push. Shu has to play defense. Ryohei out of striking distance. Now Shu has a super available. Achapi pierces through, connects a takedown. Batman and Melty just left standing to play defense.
Well, they let Chappie through. That's going to be a heat ejector gadget onto the safe that they're willing to allow. Cocooned out now as well, and should be then swiftly taken care of on the defense, but it has actually been a bit of damage going through. They weren't able to do so quite as clean as they would have hoped. 1% in it. Both sides having a decent start here with damage. Spitling's coming out as well. Will just do very little in that regard, but it's still a decent gadget to, well, pretty much the only gadget that I would consider having on Charlie anyway. Now defense needed here for a reject. Navi closing in, a good stun from Ryohei. Doesn't find the takedown though as well, so pretty solid, and Melty could escape through here.
Another strong lead for Navi. 3 straight games, but it's a hypercharge. Left-hand side, Melody climbing up the map and taken down rather quickly. Great play from Buzz, and Shu has to play a perfect defense. The incendiary goes through. Batman dives immediately off the spawn, and this thing is well below 50%. Now Kuru flanking. Shu, Melty, Batman surrounding him. Ryohei just trying to extend this lead, and Melty once again going to crumble. Perfect shots out of this Buzz here, grappling every which way. Shu goes down as well. Ryohei has the hypercharge available. He's going to buy his time and, more importantly, get Kuru there to assist him.
Cocoon available here as well. Defense here for Reject. There's a Primo on the safe, I feel, but he may have gone down now. It's still on the safe. Percentages are flying through. 5% left for Reject to hang on. And Ryohei's coming in thick and fast. Is he going to land onto the safe or not? That's the question here, because Rejects are on the safe as well. It's not enough. Navi gets it done. They take it to a 5th and final set. They hang on here. And the #1 seed in the region now looking very shaky in what is going to be the last set of this series, no matter what way you look at it.
I don't know if you're Reject, how you could not be rattled right now. 3 different match point opportunities, and every single time Na'Vi delivered. I knew this was going to be a tight match, just looking at the map pools coming into this week. This is one that Reject didn't particularly do well at. Na'Vi have been a very solid team. Their scrim rates have been similar in the past week. I was definitely a little nervous for Reject, but just the eye test, the consistency in the past, I couldn't pick against them, but right now, Na'Vi with all the momentum in the world heading into this set 5.
You know, that really just was a perfect example of adaptation for the side of Na'Vi. Round number 1, they just ignored any hurdle, just rushed to save as quickly as possible. They just raided it over and over again and did so much damage with their pretty good combat. It's good at rushing. That's what Boss Carl and Ember are known for. And then round 2, up to a certain point, that worked out as well. There was one moment where Reject take over the control over the map, and all of a sudden, Na'Vi loses the game in the very last second, where Reject just does the damage that they were lacking up to that point. Round number 3, then Na'Vi adapted and turned things around. They started to defend a bit more, even saw the boss stay back to just defend. So yeah, Na'Vi really just are coming back from their losses in the first 2 sets. Now it's looking like a different team. Adaptation is the big word for this set, I feel, Lark.
Yeah, I think that as well, Na'Vi were willing to take a risk. That was something that really shone through for me in terms of the draft and their playstyle in general, because they kind of led the charge with that approach, and they were feeling like it was going to work out well for them, just based upon the way that the momentum was swinging off the gem grab, and they proved us right. You know, it was risky, but at that stage of the competition, when you've really struggled to get much on the board, you're willing to go to that extra length, because you know it's going to go only one way if you don't. So to get to the layer cake, already a really great achievement here for Na'Vi, but it would be really quite devastating to get this far and then fall short when it comes down to it. So they do need to make sure that this draft is a winning one. It's definitely a tough map to get right, I would say. I want to see that Janet ban immediately straight off the bat for me. I think Ollie's a high consideration here. Buster, Juju as well. And, wow, a lot of them are banned, so this could be interesting.
Do we agree with you in that? Those ones, it seems like they also agree with you here. A lot of those are banned out here. Lumi once again as well. No surprises there. Layer cake, we did see that one before from Zeta versus Neva. We saw Janet, we saw Shade come out here. I wouldn't be too surprised if one of those two would show up here again, Kenny, because I do feel like those just are so good on knockout. With the Janet, you can just get out of harm's way pretty quickly, and with their hypercharge, you can also go in aggressively and get those important kills in the end.
Gray's one of my top picks for sure here as well. I just think it makes a lot of sense getting the teleport, the extra security for kills, especially with these walking canes like we saw earlier today. It can be a real problem for an enemy team. Also prevents throws a little bit too, so I think Gray just a very well-rounded, doesn't lock you into anything, safe first pick. But if I see Gray, you might want to go health points on the other end, because it's certainly going to take him some time to chip away. Buster, one of the most popular ones on this map. Curious to see how early we get him. You know, sometimes teams are a little bit hesitant to draft those tanks early on. Ollie, good choice as well. I think either of those tanks certainly work. Gene was one of the ones that I think would have been really popular alongside this, so instead they're going to pair it with Gus. Gene, of course, going to be in that ban stage. Solid 2-3 turn here for Na'Vi.
I mean, I'm loving what Na'Vi have got, and I'm not sold on the Grey first pick. I mean, it's certainly for me much more a kind of final pick when you can kind of see what you're playing into a little bit more, and not everyone's really thinking about it. It's certainly a brawler which doesn't really come immediately to mind for me in layer cake specifically for Bounty, but I don't mind it as a brawler. There's the Buster. That makes me a bit more confident and happy with their choice there, for sure. Maybe Grey was just kind of like a bit more of a safer option, gives a bit less away to start things off, and they can then see what they're playing into. But you know, Ollie first pick, you know, yeah, that to me as well is a big, strong, high, heavy ban really to have considered maybe even more so than this week. But obviously the bans are a little bit catered towards the team opposed from them, so that has to be taken into account as well. Melody is the final pick, very bold one at that. You know, it's a very aggressive brawler. It can put Na'Vi on the ropes, but if you kind of don't get the balance right, and you start feeding stars over to your opposition, because you do have to go on the aggressive to get rewarded. And if you're not able to get that balance right, then you can actually be the reason that your team, you know, come short and don't make the grand finals. And for Reject, they have to be in any standing chance of making Brawl Cup. So I feel like now it's a very telling time, and the most important set of today. There's no doubt about it. And an Ash final pick for Na'Vi. Oh, this is a spicy one.
say Division CR certainly praying that Reject fall here would help their odds tremendously for this Brawl Cup. Reject 2-0 have not missed the grand finals yet in this 2025 BSC season, and for the first time, that is in jeopardy here. Na'Vi have climbed their way back into this match, and what was looking like a dream is suddenly turning closer and closer to a nightmare. Reject need to wake up right here, right now, in this set number 5. A battle for Brawl Cup. Reject trying to preserve their lifeline.
Oh, she goes down immediately, so as well. He's low but surviving on, and immediately navigating the lead. But let's remember, Reject have been in this position in the semi-finals before. They beat State Division 3-1. They beat Rival Esports to a 3-2 scoreline, so they were able to maintain composure in that instance. But for Na'Vi, gotta remember, they've been fighting back set by set and climbing their way forwards. They had to go to the 5th final set to be in with a chance. And another shutdown there of Batman this time, making it a 4-1 lead. And I prefer the Na'Vi comp, I've got to be honest. So a lot has to happen here for Reject to be in a standing chance here. It's dangerous territory.
Early deficit, Batman back in action. Right-hand side, Shu super available. Going to be looking to try and march his team forward. Here comes Melty. Batman hovering over that super button, but doesn't quite pull the trigger. Walking King goes through, does expose the Ash, but he can just back away. Really well played by Na'Vi so far. A good blend of passive-aggressive. They got aggressive for that one kill, and now they're just trying to hold their territory.
Yeah, to get this dive comp to work out well, everything has to be in perfect synergy. So it'll be a testament to Reject if they can pull this off. Mr. Kane is not a great start, however, and there's the hypnosis now. The hypercharge coming from Batman finds Savali, but he goes down yet again, and this is what I mean. At the moment, Reject are bleeding stars. I can see it from the beginning of the draft, and they've got to start to iron out these problems because time is not on their side. Literally 30 seconds on the clock, and nothing to say except for the blue at the beginning of this matchup. Now Rio, he comes in yet again. The rats coming out as well will force back Reject, and now less time to be able to make up this differential.
Shu and Melty both down their supers. Shot clock available, and Na'Vi in the back lines. They have to buy as much time as possible. It's a dive-in. Batman looking for one. Rio, he stuns. Hypnosis goes through, blasts his way down through the enemies, and they only muster one kill, 11-4. And for the first time tonight, Na'Vi will have a match point of their own.
This is it. Wow, this really is the crunch time. And for Na'Vi, a result they've been waiting for this season so far. They've not been in the grand finals yet. This could be the turning point, and what a way to do so. They're out of the running now for Brawl Cup. They can't do it. They had to depend upon 2 other teams to make it to the grand finals, which did not get through the quarters. So for them to relish in this, to really bring someone else down alongside them as well, and no team find it to do so. They're the #1 seed in the region, right? Reject, who have been in every grand final but struggling to make a win happen, landing themselves in the #1 spot for this region, but this time round might not even be in a chance of winning.
Na'Vi have kept themselves afloat the whole time. Without motivation for Brawl Cup, we were curious to see how they would handle this situation. And honestly, I thought Reject had the most pressure coming into this month. The legacy is something they're still trying to cement, as all 3 players have not quite had that international presence like others in this region. They don't have the past like a Choppy. Kuru's made it to World Finals before, and now they have to try and get one of their own. 0-3, a dive forward from Ryoki, a hypnosis goes through, and another elimination on Shu. Been able to find a way here.
Everything that Reject throw at Na'Vi just don't seem to worry about in any way, shape or form. And these Miss Walking Canes now are getting a little bit of a problem. Melty looked a bit nervous coming into this matchup, and the gameplay is reflecting much the same story. You can't mess up those Walking Canes. It opens up the map, it breaks the push, it gives your team the chance of coming home with something, and so far all the Rejects have come home with is one singular takedown. Now the hypercharge time is thus Shu going in, gets some good taps as well, but another Miss Walking Cane, and there's nothing to say for the situation. Reject are faltering big time.
They've only got one more chance to save this match. All 3 members, right-hand side. The Choppy is aggressing. Buster trying to force him away. The teleport goes through. Ryohi holding on for dear life. 3 stars on his noggin. And Reject have all 3 brawlers afloat. They need to grab 1 kill, and not a single brawler can drop. Blue Star, the difference maker here. Melty dives in. Shu alongside him. They're focusing a Choppy down, but they have to go the other way. Blue Star not in their possession, and Na'Vi will shatter their dreams, rip up their ticket to DreamHack, and it's Na'Vi and the fellas taking an upset reverse sweep here.
What a result for Navi. Unreal scenes, let's be honest here. The full reverse sweep denying two match points in the process, unreal. They've made their first grand final of the season, and it could not taste sweet to take down the #1 seed in the region, depriving Reject of Brawl Cup hopes. What a way to do it for them. They're going to be absolutely over the moon.
A full reverse sweep here. Honestly, I had goosebumps throughout that last set. That was absolutely crazy. Navi now doesn't even give Reject a chance to fight for the Brawl Cup versus Crazy Raccoon or Zeta Division. It's honestly, yeah, as you mentioned, Ark, dream shattering. Navi themselves have no chance anymore to make it to Brawl Cup. Keep that in mind. They made sure now that this dream is also over for Reject. That's just cruel, Kenny.
Navi going down with the ship. I love it. Look, motivation was an issue here, right? They had no chance at Brawl Cup. Reject, the #1 seed in this region. Navi had yet to make a grand finals, and despite that, 2-4-1. 3 kills total for Reject. What a performance. What a way to keep their heads on straight. After getting outdrafted in the first 2 sets, they lock in and go 3 straight against the #1 seed. That's a real contender and a real team right there.
I think Crazy Raccoon and Zeta Division need to thank Navi here now. They owe them something. They ruled out one of their enemies, because we had 3 teams that could still go potentially to the Brawl Cup. One was already out here with Navi. Now also Reject is out of the way. They didn't win their semi-finals match, didn't meet all of the conditions of their checklist arc, and have a look at that. We only have 2 teams left that can make it to Brawl Cup.
And it might sound harsh to say this, but I wouldn't have it any other way. I think that this is kind of like where Destiny was heading. We'll find a way to decide it. A match between Zeta Division and Crazy Raccoon. That's kind of where I was hoping this month would go. It's where we're going now, and yeah, what a match it will be, and a chance for redemption, of course. Going back to the last month, when you consider that Zeta Division really did turn their chances around against Crazy Raccoon. Yes, it was in the quarterfinal stage, which for all intents and purposes, it was a grand finals worthy match. But this is now a chance for Crazy Raccoon to have their say, and certainly the quarterfinals today, kind of what we were pretty much all expecting. I think some scorelines there not as kind for what we kind of saw. Niwa especially, I felt, could have had certainly a set or 2 versus Zeta. But for Navi's been in the grand finals. Wasn't on my bingo card today. I had them to lose in the semis versus Reject. So I think the way that they did so was very commendable. But now the Zeta Division for Crazy Raccoon. Who is going to make the grand finals here today? Who is going to make Brawl Cup? And again, what a way to decide it.
Yeah, I really thought we had to wait until the grand finals to find out who is going to tell us. May 21st until May 25th, the Brawl Cup is going to happen there. And we're going to figure out already in the semi-finals now who will make it. Our next match is going to be Zeta Division versus Crazy Raccoon. And it's our Brawl Cup decider, Kenny.
Should be an intense one. I mean, we already had fireworks flying in our first semi-finals. To be honest with you, it feels like we might have up to 3 grand finals worthy matches coming up here. Insane stuff.
Mix is lagging, guys, sorry. Okay, I'm back. Well, back we are with the MVP as well. Achapi made it here. Of course, he played phenomenally, especially on that hard rock mindset. He started to pop off on his stew, so I feel like it made a lot of sense that he is now voted by the people at home. If you didn't get your vote in, by the way, you went to brawlstars.com if you want to get some pro rank XP and also a pin at the end of the reward track. Make sure to do that. And yeah, now we're already, I think, for the semi-final number 2, right, Ark?
Yeah, I mean, and what a spicy one. I mean, who knows, though? Maybe that was the spiciest of the 2. I mean, when you look at kind of how dominant Zeta Division got as the day progressed last month, and Crazy Raccoon as well, have they been tested as much here today? Both these 2 teams, in my opinion, didn't have like the hardest route through to get to this stage of the competition, and that's not taking anything away from the other teams. They were just certainly the underdogs in that scenario. So today, we get the match that I think we will look forward to every single month of every single year. I can't wait to see how this one fares.
I really do feel like we are in for a treat here. We had only 3-0s, 1-3-1 in the quarterfinals. Now the semifinals are looking to be 3-2s, both of them. I do expect Crazy Raccoon and Zeta Division to be quite close. We'll see just how close after the break.
強みは雫がまずコーチのように仕切るのが非常に強いと思います。はい、それでこそ言ったら立ち回りとかそのプレー面全部雫が仕切るんですね。はい、その仕切りが強みだと思います。その仕切りがあればその組織はまとまりますって感じで、雫さんが俺してたんことレビに非常なアドバイスをしながらプレーするのが俺たちの強みです。はい、正直に言います。アナリストのレイトックスっていう方が非常に優秀なコーチです。ビリー・エリーズとかと比べようにならないぐらい優秀なコーチでですね、僕たちにテイクダウンとかその全部立ち回り面とかそうですね、詳しくは言えないけど相手の情報をより簡単にまとめてくれるいいコーチです。レイトックスのおかげです。
It's semi-final time. Round 2 already. Round number 1 is out of the way. And Trev, we get you back as well here. It's been a very close one. I think we didn't really expect Nami to take this one, but you're not really good with your prediction anyway, so you probably expected that to happen, right?
I did not expect that to happen, I will say. Reject, I think, was the safe bet, if anything. I know I'm saying that in hindsight after Navi have just won, but I think Reject, like 90% of the time, I'd still go with Reject. If we had to redo this game, I'd probably still predict Reject. And they had so many chances to close out as well, but were just unable to do so.
Henny in the backlands mentioned that he had some background info for the scrims from Reject. They didn't really play the best on the maps that we've seen. Now heading into semi-final number 2 though, Zeta Division versus Crazy Raccoon. We just saw it. Those two that have faced against each other before.
Yeah, I mean, this is the match that I was waiting for today. I mean, of all things that have occurred, this was like the one that I was 99% certain we were going to get to see. So again, the Zeta Division for Crazy Raccoon, so much now at stake. Everything is on the line for these two teams, and they both are the only two teams that have come out on top and won a grand final in the season so far. So getting to the grand finals to be able to have the chance to secure second would be absolutely on the cards. But of course, the Brawl Cup, getting to that stage, and maybe even going all the way there, as we know what is at stake if you can get to Brawl Cup and win the whole thing, or come second or third, LCQ spots and World Finals spots for your region. It's a huge deal, and especially when you look at a region like East Asia and how competitive they are, I think they'd be thoroughly deserving of that kind of spot. You can see how the checklist for Zeta is going. They've got Niwa taken care of. This is their number 2 thing to have to get done here today, defeat Crazy Raccoon. Again, as if that wasn't hard enough to add to the mix that it's got to happen for the second time in their monthly final this year, and then win the whole thing, which now they don't actually necessarily need to do either, so we've crossed that one off. But I mean, this is now a very, very exciting prospect for both of these two teams here, and again, what finer way to decide it?
I mean, I must say, it's like, I thought I'd missed a great semi-final. I was a little bit jealous about not watching the last one. I was, oh, actually, wait, this is like literally for all the marbles, this game, for going for Brawl Cup. So it's kind of a grand finals caliber semi-final, and all they need to do is the same, just reversed, is beat Zeta in this game. Whoever wins this one will be going to Dallas, will be going to the Brawl Cup. Obviously, as I said, we crossed out the win the month finals. It's not necessary. Obviously, they're still going to be going for that regardless, because they need to get points for, after the Brawl Cup, for the second half of the year, for the postseason, LCQ and Worlds. That's what they're all striving to get, regardless of the Brawl Cup being added bonus.
I really think we did well, guys. We could not have written a better script for today. We have two teams that so far won a monthly final each in this region, facing off against each other now in the semi-finals. Another last two to also still fight for the Brawl Cup. They also faced off against each other in the March monthly finals, where it was a very narrow win by Zeta Division 3-2 in the end. So it all just played out perfectly that those two teams now face off against each other in the semi-final. I'm really looking forward to this match here. We could already be very well a grand final here, and we had a little chat with Tensai as well, specifically on their matchup against Zeta Division.
またゼータと当たる可能性が高いんですけど、ブロールカップをかけて、戦うことにとてもワクワクしています。
Very, very short statement there. I see that he's excited as well. So are we for this upcoming match here. Now, Ark, what happened last month?
A very close affair, wasn't it, really? I mean, Crazy Raccoon had a glimmer to bring things back into order, as you can see there in the second and third sets, but it was ultimately, the heist, the gem grab, and the Brawl Ball sets that went the way of Zeta Division, and we were kind of hoping for it a little bit on the casting desk, because, I mean, following the first month that we saw Zeta Division, we kind of had higher hopes for them. They went out and rejected in the semi-final stage to the 1-3 scoreline, but I think this time round, there's so much more at stake, because they've got that honour of having won last month to have to maintain, and that puts additional pressure on an organisation as well. So certainly, of course, now that we've kind of seen, should Tampa on the shade pick, everyone's aware to it, so that Crazy Raccoon could have got that in their back pocket. We heard in that interview earlier as well, them saying that was a big key to the success of last month, was simply having everyone else be unaware how to deal with the shade. Well, this month that's not the case, and I think that this, as you can see from our predictions, is the 50-50 matchup of the day, and we are kind of split down the middle.
We really are. Not only us, but also the viewers. I'm sure they think they're brought in over at the website. And yes, as you mentioned, we have a revenge here for the side of Crazy Raccoon. They lost to them in the March 1-2 finals in a very narrow matchup. We have the two teams still in the race for a Brawl Cup facing off against each other, and we have the two monthly final winners here in this very match. So Trev, if this isn't the match of the day, I don't know what is. I hope the grand final is as well, of course, but I'm just super excited for that one.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be such a good game, it really is. I mean, it was definitely the public siding with Zeta Division, with me and Kenny there, as you two kind of went for Crazy Raccoon. Absolute 50-50 this game. It always has been and it always will be between this group of players. Bans coming in then for Gold Arm Gulch. The Tick, the Squeak, and the Kick going to be banned out from Zeta Division. Crazy Raccoon going to get rid of the Lumi, the Gene, and the Angelo. Ollie first pick. Love to see it. Probably the strongest brawler in the game right now. One of them, I should say. And Buster comes in to oppose it up for Crazy Raccoon.
We had this map before. Golem Gulch played out just the same so far the draft. Ollie was first pick for Navi, Buster first pick for Rival here. So far pans out to be the same. Let's see if now Crazy Raccoon also goes with Daryl and Max. That was the comp from Rival. And then Lou and Juju were picked up by Navi side. So finally, a bit of a new idea here. Gus is coming in, and I do like that. Together with the Buster, it's going to make him even stronger. With that shield, Buster can face up even against an Ollie arc.
Yeah, I'm definitely liking the Buster kind of now being elevated slightly further forwards. But I feel like the win rates haven't been that high for him today. The play rates have been pretty decent. But certainly, we talk about it being a 50-50 matchup. One thing that's not 50-50 is the scrim rates regarding these two teams specifically. And that's where Crazy Raccoon have a slight edge. 62% over Zeta Division in the win rates for this series for a scrim. That's the reason why I've sided with them just a little bit more. And also there is the incentive that Crazy Raccoon do want to get revenge on last month. You've got to remember just how many points Zeta Division deprived Crazy Raccoon of, because it wasn't defeating them in the grand finals, for example, it was defeating them in the quarter-final stages. It deprived Crazy Raccoon massively. So to still be in a good spot for Brawl Cup, all things considered, is really quite a blessing for them, as Hank is the final pick for Zeta. This is a scary comp trap. I mean, Ollie, Hank, and Bell as well. I mean, these are two brawlers that have got such a tremendous amount of HP and a potential shield gear into the mix as well. And I mean, that's so much to have to tear through in the final stages of a knockout round when you've got everyone still standing.
Yeah, I mean, I expect him to be like a Lou, to be honest with you. Against double tank, it's going to be really difficult without a very defensive measure. Ooh. Can't say I've really seen that in Gold Arm Gulch, to be honest with you, but we'll go with it. I honestly, against the Ollie, against the Hank, you probably need something like that. Get a shield from the Gus, and you're going to be pretty fine. So it's double tank against double tank, an absolute just mash-up of brawlers here. But I think it'll be lining up to be quite a good one.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, I liked your suggestion, it's definitely not what I was expecting, to say the least. It really wasn't. Can it work? Yeah, I can see it working. But certainly with the Frank gets lower, of course, the hammer smashes get more, closer together, which can help. And the gadget, of course, for Frank is very, very devastating. But I feel like with this comp for CR, they're going to be immediately pushed into a corner. They haven't really got much pushback aside from the Gus or range. This is... It's already looking bad as it is, and they've just started. Crazy Raccoon might have been out-drafted before you even got started.
Yeah, not a really good spot for the Gus and Frank to be in here behind the wall with the Hank just kind of looming there. And we do see Tensai going down pretty early, just trying to relieve some pressure. And a nice jump there from Stampo to avoid the gadget that Milcreo was using the Goose Bob there. Really nice stuff. But he does have a shield in a 3v2 situation, though. I feel like he's just going to save it for the next game. Moyo will probably try get a super and then head to the gas, I imagine. But it seems like they might be willing to try and fight it out.
Let's see. Scouting it out for the most part. Right. I mean, the spell shots are going to ricochet. I mean, that's why when one does land, they can kind of get a bit of an idea as to where the other player might be. They're going to go to the gas. There's really little point in doing otherwise. Trying to get maybe a higher charge there, but nothing too much more than that. And yeah, I've got big questions. I've got big questions already. I kind of want to see Crazy Raccoon bring their idea to the forefront so we can kind of see a little bit as to what this could potentially do. But certainly I've got a lot more faith in the Zeta combat. That's not just because they won the round, because of the way that it started and the way that they were able to herd CR into a corner. They just didn't really seem to have much of an answer. Nice half a charge mark connection there from Levi onto Tensai. Reverse polarity does actually find Milk Rhea as well. So nice stuff all around from Zeta, who were looking pretty confident in this scenario, and I can see why.
And a huge waste from Tensai as well. Tried to bounce that super back, but did it way too late. So completely used all of his kit to try and prevent it, and never actually prevented it. Shampoo going to go in. Moya being dragged all the way back towards Suzuku, and a marked up Tensai awaiting this bubble as well. So low. Should fall, but Suzuku actually missed that one there. Surprising to see that happen. Milcreo is low as well, but the shield keeps him up. Now Stampo goes back in. Should be dragging Milcreo straight towards Suzuku's bubble. Does just that. And it's a 3v1 against Tensai. And I'm not sure what hope he has.
None. I mean, even if you're some of the best players in the world, a 3 versus 1 in knockout is a very, very big order. It's a huge feat to be able to do. I mean, this stage of the competition, no less. I mean, it's just an outdraft situation. I feel. I just don't feel as though Crazy Raccoon really responded too well to the way that the Zeta were going about things, and that was one of the things that we saw from Tensai, wasn't it, in the interview? It was him saying about the fact that we let our opposition do too much what they wanted to do. Well, I mean, this doesn't really feel too much different, I'll be honest, and if I was able to change my prediction, I mean, I wouldn't, I probably
just
would.
After that?
I probably would. Yeah, just after that. It's a bit unforgivable, isn't it? To bring the Frank, and it's not showing any signs of life. I mean, it's a bit unforgivable for me, and very much unlike the Crazy Raccoon lineup.
Yeah, I think Frank's only kind of hit a couple of shots in the game, and that's because it was like purposely fed to him by Suzuku or Stampo just to try and get a bit of super of their own. Suzuku just trying to hover over this bubble over Tensai here. Reverse polarity going for a completely wild bounce, and honestly, if it had a little bit more range, it probably would have found him. Milcreo about half HP now. Tensai gets flicked onto by that bubble, and Suzuku in a good position to snipe him down, and does just that. Mark onto Moira as well, and it's falling apart. Milcreo the only one alive, and he'll be saving his shield for next round, and should Tample get a super of his own.
It's not looking good, bruv. It's not looking good for Crazy Raccoon in this first set. I'm sure they are well aware of the error. But let's see. I mean, hopefully they can muster something up. They've got a hypercharge for Buster. Moore going in, might find Levi, but again misses, and that's like the only opportunity that he's really had for the majority of this series so far. And the hypnosis there coming in, and it's just, I mean, now that Zeta are all clustered, there's some hope, but I just feel like they're going to recover, heal up accordingly, buy their time, and then separate out and just use their numbers against them. Let's see, though, this is definitely the best opportunity for CR so far, and they've got the Gus still standing, which gives me some hope.
Really lovely reverse polarity from Levi as well, and Milcreo being marked up is not going to help them at all either. So tough battle for CR to win, but they know they can expend all of their stuff for this round because they can't win without it. Dampo's going to go in, try and get the hypnotized, no need as Suzuku cleans up. Milcreo's going to go down, reverse polarity from Levi, will finish it off, and the set goes as quick as that to Zeta.
I'd love to say I'm surprised, but I'm really not. I think that Crazy Raccoon just didn't get that draft right. It was as simple as that. They just did not get it right, and I think that as long as they can kind of spend this time to talk that through and just reset mentally, they are still Crazy Raccoon. So there's every chance that they can bring things back around to some form of order, but that was a bit of a free set for Zeta, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, they should have done better there. They had the final pick of the Frank. I wasn't it.
Really not. I mean, looking at the Scrim stats, you and me are both voting for Crazy Raccoon because they're up a tiny bit, like 52% of their matches they did win against Zeta Division. Trev, you believed in Zeta Division to take it all today. Is it just because they're the draft masters? I do agree with Arkia that they just don't really draft that well in this one, at least.
I mean, just in my mind, it seems like after last month, they seemed like the team to kind of go for. They just played so well in the previous month. And to be honest with you, I don't concern myself that much with scrim stats, to be honest, because I just find it so completely different to when you're actually in the competition, when you're in the hot seat, when all the pressure's on. I think the scrims kind of go out the window, and you just do what your heart tells you to do. So it seems like Zeta Division are really, making big use of that, and just seemed like by far the better team there. Yeah, partially down to the draft, but I feel like they just played it better as well.
Ignore the data,
So
follow
was
your
their
heart,
heart-
Trav. Some great sound advice there, mate.
Exactly.
Just follow your heart, mate.
Well,
Yeah,
it's like
so was their heart
52%
that told them to go
scrims.
Frank here?
It's like 2% in their favour. Behave yourself if that's
Yeah.
a convincing stat.
I mean, I'm just an analyst,
false.
Terrell, I just go for that. But yeah, in that case, it must have been their heart telling them to go Frank, right, Ark?
Yeah, and if that was the case, then I was just probably a bit of bad advice there, because, I just don't know what they were thinking, really. I mean, surely you want to go range a little bit, you want to go something that's a bit hard-hitting into those big, tankier brawlers, and, the Frank is not that, getting really up close and personal, it just really isn't going to fare well. The Frank was the problem, it was a loose pair of hands. I think the decision-making behind that brawler pick, and whoever made it needs to be a bit in question, because you want to get up to a good start, that's the thing. You really want to have that first set be something of a close-up bear if you lose it, or a convincing one to win it, because it gives you that lift going into the second, and that's where things could come crumbling down here for Crazy Raccoons. They've got to pull themselves back together. They've got to get back on point.
Heading into draft now, Dueling Beetles, one of those maps where you want to pick some throwers every now and then. Stu is one of the most prevalent brawlers here as well, and B and Luke. Two of them are banned out here. Stu technically still open, but let's see whatever their heart tells them to go. Trev, you're just too sweet.
I can't believe I'm getting ripped into for not signing with a 2% difference screen rate.
We're not letting you live it down, mate. It was actually 12% actually. It's 62 to, yeah.
It's unbelievable, honestly. Guys, come on, behave yourselves. Hank is going to be the first pick, though, for Zeta Division. Poco, Berry, and Bell going to be banned out, and then Luby and Lumi on the other side as well for Crazy Raccoon. Back with their 2 picks now, but Hank is a pretty convincing start, I'd say, for Zeta Division.
I mean, it worked out very well for them previously, and there's no reason to assume that it wouldn't this time around on a map like Dueling Beetles as well. I think Wall Break needs to be on the minds here of Crazy Raccoon. That's where I would be thinking, but again, they're playing professionally for a reason that I'm not. Banning the B means that you might not have that kind of griff, kind of break open combo, but there's certainly other options that could be potentially here. Charlie kind of come in, again, a brawler that I just didn't expect would have nearly as much impact as we've seen there coming through, but I'm here for it. Certainly, I mean, Stu would be an option, but against the Hank, very, very tanky. You can just kind of keep whistling it down, though, and dashing away, so there's some options there, but it wouldn't be a battle for Zeta to really pick up here and really cause a problem. Only really the Spiderling's going to be something to have to sort of power through, but Stu is always good, in my opinion, on Hot Zone, regardless of the map anyway. But it's Zeta that are in control. They've got that first set in the pocket. Meeple going to come in for them. Yeah, I don't mind it. I mean, Meeple's very good. But I actually really quite like the Barley pick, though. I think the Herbal Tonic really on this map provides so much value. But Meeple's very good. I mean, certainly with the dice to be able to break the push. I mean, that in this map is going to leave no stone unturned, and Crazy Raccoon are going to be fully exposed.
Yeah, I mean, this is a big thing for Zeta Division. I love this Barley pick. I like the Meeple as well. If you really need to, you can even box the Hank in to get some progression. To be able to push up onto the other team, hold him in that zone, and nobody's really going to be able to pierce into that to hold a bit of time towards the end. Ollie's going to come in as the last pick from Crazy Raccoon. I like the Ollie, really solid pick. Obviously one of the better brawlers at the moment. The Chester very good, Charlie very good at the moment as well. I think this is honestly a great draft from both teams. You've just got to hope for Crazy Raccoon's sake that the thrower doesn't really make a big difference, and the Herbal Tonic will be healing the Hank up a fair amount. So I like this Zeta comp, I will say.
Yeah, I like this Zeta comp as well. That's the problem for Crazy Raccoon in this situation. And not to say this draft combo is certainly a better draft than the first set. There's no doubt about that. But yeah, Meeple's not a flashy brawler. It's just a gadget. It's just that. This dice, the mentions of Meeple's gadgets is just so good. Provides so much value and immediately gives Zeta Division the mid control. And in Dueling Beetles specifically in Hot Zone, mid control is everything. So already CR off to a bad start.
Yeah, I mean, a 30% lead already there, and we can see this shooting through the walls. Now that's going to be finished off, and Tensai goes down as well. And another Herbal Tonic used there. Not really too necessary, I wouldn't say, considering they did have pretty much all the control regardless, and all of them are now full HP as well. But Tensai going to come rolling on in. Not going to be able to get too much out of that Hypnotize, miss it, but does make a bit of a connection with Levi then, trying to keep him alive in Suzuku, and might be able to do just that. Just one shot left now, and it looks like he's going to go and try and clean him up and leave Shatampo to do the heavy lifting up top, but as he returns now, and 74% already in favour of Zeta.
Tampo's juking wondrously well here in this mid. This now the Hypnosis Tensai tries to come in and survives just about until the last call. The Barley comes in as well, but it's Levi in the zone. Moya and Milgrio are too low to contest against it, and now 95%. I mean, this is dominance, sheer dominance of Zeta. I mean, going from that first set so cleanly into the first game of Hot Zone to be 100% to 12 only. Crazy Raccoon are not looking like the same squad that we would know Crazy Raccoon to be today. I mean, it's just looking like they're not themselves. The decision making is definitely questionable, and now in the second set, confidence that is the issue.
Yeah, well, should be seeing this gadget come down nice and early again. Doesn't box anybody in this time, so Tensai can breathe a little bit at the start, but he does take a heavy hit off that Suzuku bubble right there and forced to back up again as he's 4,000 HP. Levi doing a good job of staying pretty healthy while throwing out some good shots and blocking off Moya. Stampo very low, so might require a little healing tonic soon enough. Suzuku tough position again, but gets the super off, so it should be alright. Jumps open, just about gets the Hypnotize, but very close, almost missing that. Stampo's going to use this little wall peak and not able to get too much from it as the Spiders do a good job of pushing him back. A super use from Milko, and that's about the only use you can get off that slow on this map.
Yeah, good time for it, but there's that gadget yet again. And already, it's 42% for Zeta, so a lot catching up here for Crazy Raccoon. Good value though, as two members of Zeta full. Tampo almost by his 10 side, but he is going to be able to heal up to max HP by the time that everyone from Zeta gets back into this mid to contest his last call. Good area splash and spread there for Zeta, and now another Imagines of Meeple gadget coming down for Zeta. Heals as well. I mean, the cyclability of these gadgets really for Zeta is the winning point, but the Cocoon is there, and the way out is not going to be for Suzuki, down to 820 HP. And actually, Crazy Raccoon has done a really commendable job of taking this lead now to almost 70%. And considering how things started, that says a lot.
Yeah, Moya boxed in and will fall down, and as you say, Crazy Raccoon have done a great job, but here's the healing tonic as well. Tensai has the super though. Suzuki very low, needs to be cautious, and didn't make use of that super at that gadget at all from Levi. Shatampo coming in and gets taken out pretty much instantly as well. One last push for Zeta Division to make something happen, but Crazy Raccoon standing firm and looking strong at this point.
Tensai did well there to really capitalise on Suzuki's low HP and just ensure that the space was created. Now though, look at the scoreline, it really is neck and neck, 81% to Crazy Raccoon and 78% and climbing for the Zeta Division as well. Big area splash, Zeta getting their feet really stuck in firmly, and what can Milgrio do in a position of like 1 versus 3 there? Nothing at all. Zeta will get another one on the board, and it's looking bleak. I mean, this is a blinking miss match, the one that we were all expecting and looking forward to today, and it's looking like it could even end in a sweep in favour of Zeta. And again, the Brawl Cup is on the line here. I mean, we've seen more back and forth from many other teams. Even some didn't make a mark in a single set in the quarterfinals, had a bit more back and forth than this. This is like the most one-sided match of the day, and who would have thought it? This is escalating far too quickly for my liking.
It really is. So far, this is the first time around that all of us disagree with the predictions. We have 2 casters going for Zeta Division, 2 casters going for the prediction of Crazy Raccoon. And Ark, I feel like we have to give it to Trev here. Sometimes heart wins over analysis or over stats here. Looking at the stats now though, it does look like Crazy Raccoon had some more kills going their way, but Dueling Beetles isn't about getting any kills in, it's about getting time in the zone. And even though that second round especially was super close, Zeta just executed their comp better. They had the Ollie on their side, the Chester, the Charlie, just 3 phenomenal brawlers. I feel like this time around, again, the draft should have been on the side of CR here with those 3 brawlers on that line, but they just didn't execute it well.
Yeah, it wasn't a bad draft by any means, but I think the Hank has been the kind of brawler which for me has been the footnote to consider that. It's been allowed through the draft in the first set, second set, and they just don't seem comfortable handling on the side of CR. I think they don't really kind of know what to do when it's showing its face, and they're getting it taken care of sometimes, but it's just they don't really have the answer. In much the same way last month that they were struggling against the shade of Zeta Division, this month it seems to be the hang.
I was just about to say, it really seems like Zeta Division just always have this one ace up their sleeves. Last month it was Shade, as you mentioned. Now they're just picking Hank every single round, and again, Crazy Raccoon doesn't know how to react. It really seems like it's their kryptonite for this month. Let's see if they ban it out now. That could be a solution to that, no, Trev?
Yeah, I mean, this is a Shade Hank map, so they're going to have to be pretty careful about what they're going to be banning out here, because both of the brawlers can quite easily be played here. And I feel like this is the map that Shade was played on and won them the entire series last time. So something that Crazy Raccoon are going to have to be pretty careful of. They have banned Shade out, and they're going to first pick Hank as well. So taking both of those things off the board for the Zeta Division side, Shade banned, Barley banned, and Frank banned from the Crazy Raccoons guys. And then Meeple, Berry, and Lumi can be banned out by Zeta Division. So I think that's a very good strategic move from Crazy Raccoon, and I like that a lot.
I think our theory might be correct here, Ark, and it looks like Crazy Raccoon came to the same conclusion. We can't give them either one of those two brawlers, we just don't really know how to deal with it. Let's play it ourselves. Zeta Division, though, as they are usually the ones who pick up Hank here, they certainly know how to counter him, right?
Looks that way. Yeah, I mean, that's the kind of exact thinking that I was on the lines of. B is kryptonite, in my opinion, to Hank. Not to say that Hank can't do a healthy amount regardless of it, and again, you know, Crazy Raccoon can draft around the B and you know, bring in some options in that regard. I mean, maybe getting the Charlie on their side, the Spiderlings are quite a good deterrent of these amplified shot in that regard, and certainly they don't want to be facing into a Charlie without Hank, so I would be kind of thinking that down those lines, and it'd be good into the Ollie as well. So that's kind of my thoughts. Ollie, though, certainly still really, really troublesome. You know, on every map and mode, but especially Brawl Ball, I think it's fair to say. I mean, you can either just take the ball off your opposition by just a simple gadget pop. So I think moments like that can, yeah, exactly. You kind of have to for Crazy Raccoon. Stu to follow up as well. I don't necessarily mind that at all. I mean, the maneuverability of that particular brawler and the ability to get the ball further up the field when you need to is going to be there. So my favourite draft so far for Crazy Raccoon. But again, is it too little too late? With 2 sets for Zeta already, and Crazy Raccoon really saying so little about the whole thing. They've got to take this to a 5th and final set. This is just the beginning, Trav, of what they've got to achieve.
Yeah, I mean, they've got to get 3 in a row if they want to be able to win this one. So Zeta Division, regardless of this draft, is still very much on top of things. But they've got the Ollie, they've got the B, 2 good brawlers on this map, and they're going to go Draco to run it down with some tanks. I quite like that idea, especially when you're kind of facing off against the Hank, who's going to have to charge up that bubble. Stu hasn't got a lot of DPS. Charlie, pretty decent against tanks at certain moments, but can only really take them out of the mix for a while rather than completely eradicate them.
Draco's definitely creeping forwards now as a brawler on the rise, I would say. We've seen kind of definitely a higher rate of play for him recently. It's a troublesome thing to deal with, absolutely. So I don't really kind of necessarily know why he dropped off the way that he did, but I've always been a big fan of Brawler. Let's see if it's enough to take Zeta through to the grand finals. Can we see something of a resolve here for Crazy Raccoon? Because, I mean, it'd be kind of way about. That's the gap, that's the gap, that's the gap. As Suzuki sneaks it through with just a simple walk-in. I mean, look at that. I mean, what a start in 20 seconds, if that, of play. CR, I don't know what they had for breakfast, but they just might want to just try to maybe reconsider that next time round. We're going to try and walk us through, passing it through to Rio, pass through potential hit to 10 side, and they get one back as quickly as that. This match is going in the blink of an eye, Trav.
Yeah, 2 goals within like 35 seconds. It's rapid. I mean, Chitampo has done absolutely nothing in this, I will say. Hasn't done much at all, but got it super now and takes a heavy hit there as well. The pass comes up to him. Gadget being used, might be able to pick up the Sudua does just about, and almost I was thinking maybe Suzuki could walk that, but a great super from Moya, and they get picked up as well. So Crazy Raccoon, on top of this one, looking very good in this situation. Great control and the ball with it as well.
Nice stuff from CR now, coming forwards. The ball is away. That could be a big mistake. Oh, the hypnosis is perfect, and Tensai can't do anything about it. What a drop of the ball, allowing Zeta to get onto match point like that. Not like this, Crazy Raccoon. Come on, pull it together, because you're out of time.
Yeah, that was not good at all. The ball's just left unattended. unattended. Super's onto it, away from everybody else, and Stu's just not got the DPS for that, and for half of it, he was hypnotized as well. So really tough for Seattle. That's something that you've got to keep an eye on, because it's just something as easy as that can make it slip, and these are Brawl Cup chances as well. Much better start this time, and Jutampo is genuinely doing nothing on this Draco Brawler, I will say, but really good control for Crazy Raccoon and a goal scoring opportunity here.
They had a chance to super the ball forwards there for me, but they didn't go for it despite Levi being on low HP, and now the ball being pushed to the right hand side. 3 versus 1 still, Suzuki coming into the mix, and he is the problem, in my opinion, so far in this series, and he's going to be able to do a good job on the defense too. Now having another super to hand, Tampo just buying some time, allowing his teammates to gain back that valuable HP. Now going forwards in Dragon mode. That's kind of the reason why Dragon dropped off a little bit for me, was the last stand gadget as well. So probably going to pop it out now. He does so. That'll keep him alive just a little bit longer, taken care of. But a 22-second cooldown for that gadget, so it'll be a while before we see it again.
Yeah, it does take a bit of time, but Tensai gets hit so hard then. Suzuki there, now going to be waiting for the ball, possibly getting a hypnotize in the meantime. Shitampo grabs that as well and has the super back, so that's going to do quite a lot of work for him. Gets rid of those spiders instantly. Moya's going to fall. Suzuki, chance here as he can pass to himself and go for the hypnotize. Just try walking straight through, jump in, opportunity to score. Grabbed off the line that was denied by Crazy Raccoon.
Chance on goal potentially here as Moya pushes the forwards to 10 side, but the respawns will be coming in and they are now in motion. Tampa goes straight into that Hank bubble as well. Speed zone now taken care of, but it provides some nice mobility into that moment in time. Ball needs to come out of the corner middle. Rear needs the cocoon here as well to pick Suzuki out of the mix, and just can't find the shots with the yo-yo now coming forwards with the ball, and Moya's in position still trying to find Tensai. Can Tensai dash to the ball? He gets it, gets the takedown, and there's a goal on the cards. Crazy Raccoon survive on 40 seconds left on the clock. They might be able to turn this match point just for a little bit longer.
Yeah, great hypnotize there from Suzuki, just goes straight in and dives through everybody to try and get that. This is surely going to be a goal here. Tanks the cocoon and gets the goal in. One more required for Zeta Division to be moving on to the finals. Crazy Raccoon are looking quite good in overtime other than the beat.
Yeah, wasted utility there for Milk Rear as well. He won't have that cocoon for a while now, but a good, healthy push forwards for CR. A speed zone for Tensai is going to be dancing around it, and low HP for Suzuki now. Tampa covers in with the Dragon's Breath, gets a takedown as well. The left hand side is fully open, with the ball pushed down to the wall. Now Suzuki super passes it there to the B, and it should be in. It is going to be so. Zeta Division get the match that through to the grand finals, but most importantly, secure themselves the tickets for the Brawl Cup.
Jumping about, looking as happy as ever. They're going to Dallas, and deservedly so. What a performance that was from Zeta Division, just decimating Crazy Raccoon, and what we anticipated to be the best matchup of the day, the closest matchup of the day, ends up being one of the quickest games we've had all year long in this region.
What is this? Honestly, congratulations to Zeta Division. They win, and they even pick Draco, which is usually the signature ruler for Crazy Raccoon. So they just turned that thing around and made it a 3-0 sweep. As you mentioned, we thought this would be a close one. They said no to that. And with that, Zeta Division is going to go to Dallas. They will join Toxic Lotus and Revenant Expert to go to Dallas, where the Brawl Cup is happening May 23rd till 25th. And yeah, we have another look here at the checklist. They don't even have to do that very last step, as we learned now. They already thrown out the other 3 out of the competition, and again, I do think they have to thank Navi here that they already got rid of Reject for them. They will still face Navi now in the grand finals, but Brawl Cup is secured, Ark.
Yeah, that was the objective, the biggest objective, but certainly for Crazy Raccoon, I mean, they're not going to forget that defeat in the heartbeat, are they? That's going to linger on for some time. They're going to be watching now Brawl Cup from the sidelines and thinking that could have been us. You know, if it went to the 5th and final set and again came down to a double match point scenario, you can kind of rest a slight bit easier. But I mean, that was just like watching, you know, Zeta Division taking on a sort of seed 8 team in the quarterfinals. It was just not the same team. Certainly not the quality and clarity of a team that have won a monthly final this season so far. Something that didn't seem right. Something was very off today with Crazy Raccoon, and I was very surprised to see it. As you said, like, that was the match that everyone was looking forward to, and we expected to go the distance, a grand finals matchup for all intents and purposes, and it just didn't land.
We were gassing it up coming into this match, honestly. We thought this would be a 3-2. It's the fourth 3-0 today, Trev. Is it just that, yeah, this region, just either you have a good draft and you win immediately and with a clean sweep, is that as well, or you just, yeah, can't even get a single set?
I don't know, because I feel like the quarterfinals matchups were just very well seeded, and I think that's why it was, 3-0s for the most part. But that one, nobody would have expected it. And the thing is, if we do that game again on a different day, it's going to be 3-2, one of the ways. It's a very 50-50 matchup for the most part, but Zeta Division have done it 3-0 this time, and now we'll be having the Navi versus Zeta Division Grand Final. I think these two teams heavily deserve to be here. Navi reverse sweep in reject, and then Zeta Division obviously having quite a clean run through to the finals, but it wasn't like an easy run, just a pretty clean one overall.
Pretty clean run also for Shitatampo today. Twice in a row he gets the MVP. You people at home were able to vote over at the event website to get some pro rank XP. And yeah, with that, Shitatampo twice in a row now MVP here. Well deserved, right, Ark?
Yeah, but I think even so, I mean, the guy's got maximum aura. I mean, that haircut as well, especially. I mean, the fan out here is all over that man, and for good reason, right? So sometimes it doesn't matter how you play, despite him playing flawlessly so far for me today, just being yourself can sometimes be enough.
Yeah, as you mentioned, Ark, we also have a Brawl Esports fan art contest going on at the moment. You can still vote until Monday, and the two drawings do feature Shitatampo. So make sure to get your votes in until Monday. We get another two of those beautiful art pieces next weekend to vote upon as well. And it's just 4 amazing Picasso that we get to vote on in the end. Now, MVP out of the way already, I think. We're just on our way to the grand final already. Trev, you excited for it?
I mean, I'd be stupid not to be, right? I was probably more excited for that game, to be honest with you. So I'm hoping that this one's actually going to be a bit closer, considering I was expecting a 3-2 in the previous one. I'm hoping for a 3-2 in this one, knowing that Navi have just taken down Reject, and they're going to be carrying so much momentum into the final after reverse sweeping a team like that. But don't get me wrong, so is Zeta after clean sweeping, possibly the best team in the region.
Ark, we're gonna have to say goodbye to you in this one. Any last words about your predictions today, maybe?
They're in the mud, but I think that I don't regret them. Like I said, when I saw that first set in the last series, I would have changed them, because they are just like were making the weirdest of decisions at such an early stage in the matchup. But I like Trav said, I mean, if that matchup in the semi-finals, Reject versus Navi, would have been played out again, I would still have gone with the side of Reject, so I don't regret that one at all. But for me, today now, I'm going Zeta all the way. They've looked so good. They've got so much momentum, and you can't get a ticket to the Brawl Cup and not win the whole thing after that, right? I mean, that's anticlimactic. I think they're going to go the distance.
Very, very true. We're going to head into a very quick break. After that, we're going to be back with Zeta Division versus Navi.
Regions from across the globe are sending their best champions to prove to us, once and for all,
Humble, 50%, Crazy Raccoon have fallen short.
Which region is the best in the world right now. They'll compete for LCQ and World Final slots for their home region, altering the competitive landscape for the rest of this year. So prepare your flags, your patriotism, and cheer on your home region champions. 23rd to 25th of May, live from DreamHack Dallas. Get your tickets tickets now and join the fun in person. Or watch online at event.brawlstars.com for amazing Pro Pass rewards.
We are still in the East Asia Monthly Finals. We are still here with Trev and Kenny now, and we're ready for the Grand Finals, I believe. Kenny, we have seen the semi-final number 1 going in a very tight match here, 3-2 for Navi, and now the next one was a 3-0 sweep. I'm sure you watched it, but maybe you just blinked and you missed it.
Hard one to kind of not see. I mean, honestly, Crazy Raccoon just not meeting expectations. I think especially last month, after criticism on the draft being the issue, in years past, the draft kind of being the thing that I think rightfully people have criticized them for, it just seems like they haven't found their way. I think this is a very different meta than last month, too, so now this is a reoccurring theme. This is something that I think is now an issue. It's a part of their identity, and it's something for the remainder of the season they're going to have to work on.
I mean, congratulate you two as well. You both got your predictions right. Mine are pretty much out of the window now. Just like Navi took everything and just threw it out of the window as well. They completely put everything 180 degrees into the other direction that we expected. They made it to the finals. Reject, no chance anymore to make it to World Cup. We already have confirmed the Zeta divisions are the ones to go to Dallas. And now Navi has another chance to prove that it wasn't just a fluke. They were meant to beat Reject because they can also beat Zeta division.
Yeah, I mean, I just think that it's going to be such a tough game for Navi. Like, they are an incredibly capable team. They deserve to be here after beating Reject in that nice little reverse sweep. But Zeta Division, the day they've had and the past few months they've had as well, are just unmatched by anybody in this region at the moment. And I just can't see them losing in a grand final after just beating Crazy Raccoon 3-0.
Hard to unsee what we just saw. I mean, honestly, Zeta Division taking down what I thought was a top 2 team. I mean, I had Zeta Division being number 1, and part of that decision making was just after last month's draft, kind of fumbling away. Crazy Raccoon are obviously phenomenal, but just doesn't seem to be going their way right now. I think back to the drawing board for them for sure. There's some interesting decisions, but the Zeta Division have been very solid across the board there. And I will add too, a slow start there for Navi in the semifinals, but once they got those drafts cooking, they were looking good. I think for a team that certainly had no aspirations to Brawl Cup at that point, they still found a way to push through. And I think now that Zeta Division have claimed that Brawl Cup spot, I want to see them keep their foot on the gas pedal and really just keep it up.
Can they win back-to-back? They all already are the winners for the March monthly finals. Can they win again now in April is the question, and make it to the World Cup? It would be a huge success for them. Make it 2, not just 1. Now, looking at the maps here, we have some good old gold here again out in the open. I feel like we haven't seen this today so far. And I'm super excited to see the draws here as well, because Zeta Division, so far today, they haven't dropped a single set. Against Niwa, they won 3-0. Against Crazy Raccoon, against what we expected, they also won 3-0. So I do expect to see some very good craft for them as well as very good mechanics. Like, yeah, they just have 3 players in the roster that are mechanically skilled like almost no one else compared to other regions, but also within this region.
I mean, I'd expect it to be the case. I'd think that a 3-0 is probably the best bet. I do think Navi are probably going to have a bit more of a say than anybody else we've seen play against them today, just because of the fact that they're going to have been able to really observe them that little bit more from the other side of the bracket and wait for them in the grand finals. But yeah, I mean, Zeta Division, I think they'll probably want to, wrap up the day going 9-0 in terms of sets, and I think that's something they'll be striving for, and it's honestly not an unlikely thing to happen.
Out in the open, another one of those open maps, as the name already suggests. We have on the left-hand side a jump pad that you can use to go in, or some water. So usually you want to pick up either an Eve, an Angelo, Juju, Shade, one of those that can go over that water, or you just break open the map to go through the mid, because otherwise you only really have that right-hand side pathway to get into the mid. Brock, and there he is, the man that is picked up very often, specifically on this map, just to break open the mid. Not usually picked up anymore in the meta. He's not one of the best brawlers, but again, just kind of a necessary evil on this map, Kenny.
I think so too. Just having accessibility, especially if you don't have any brawlers that can travel over that water, I think is a big difference maker. So it seems they'd rather have Brock than say go for something like an Eve early on, where that can obviously just cut that corner. You don't have to worry about the launch pad. You just have easy access into the middle area. And just being able to not be pinned in your spawn and such is a big factor, especially on this map. When one life is all you get per round, you have to make it count. Gene going to be the player on the left-hand end, and I just think Travis is a safe option. It's hard for me to ever be upset with Gene in Knockout or Bounty. It's a brawler that can be pesky with that gadget, has a magic hand for big plays, and obviously does insane poke damage. This is a brawler I'm actually a pretty big fan of in the meta right now, though.
Yeah, Squeak is just nasty, to be fair. Like, whichever gadget you're really taking is going to be pretty good, depending on the situation. I imagine they're going to be throwing in that long shot, though, that deals so much damage. It's just such a surprise to see that just coming out of nowhere straight towards you. But yeah, I agree with you, Gene Point. It's been, you know, showing up so much, and you can never really be mad at a Gene when you're looking at a Bounty or a Knockout or something like that, because it's just so good, so capable of doing so many different things. And I think the same thing to say with a Bell. Whatever mode you're in, Bell's going to be very capable of making it happen.
Squeak, it does a deceptive amount of damage now, too, because I think people forget when you land the first Squeak shot, so let's say you land that gadget they were talking about, I think that's the better one in general right now. 4k damage, and it cycles every 14 seconds, and if your Squeak shot on the following time connects, well, you do instant damage. It doesn't take that full time to hit, so every time you land a successful Squeak shot, the previous one goes off. You can do about 6k damage in the matter of 2 shots. If you just gun somebody down, auto-aim at them, honestly, it works out really well. I think Squeak's kind of fallen under the radar a little bit. He's not an every map kind of brawler, and especially at a pro level, they're very equipped at drafting these tanky brawlers that can kind of run him over, but nonetheless, that guy can put out 3 straight shots, and it does about 8k damage, which is unbelievable. It's a well-rounded composition from Zeta Division. A little something different coming in here from Navi. I think it's a little more well-rounded. It's kind of just sharpshooters all around from Zeta Division, and then we have a little utility coming in from Gene and Gray. They've got the walking cane that they could use, maybe a Grand Piano we've seen occasionally, and then Squeak honestly does a decent amount of control too.
Yeah, I can honestly see both of these drafts working pretty well, to be honest with you, depending on, you know, how they're played out. The Squeak can be very, very dangerous, as you mentioned, like 4k damage just off that. If you know, you get hit by a shot from someone else, and then randomly that comes and appears, it's going to be, you know, a killing blow, and it's something they've got to be very, very cautious of, because they surely will be punished. But we see the Grand Piano coming down, instant wall break for a Charpy, so we won't be seeing that walking cane coming anytime soon, which means they can rest a little bit more easy.
I think a worthwhile investment in what they used to choose for the utility, just because of the same reasons as Brock, right? But I actually like Gray a little bit better as a brawler. I think it's going to be nice just to cut off things like this right there. Now they have vulnerability. They can have a little extra, visibility in that grass. Just a nice little perk coming in with Gray here.
Yeah, we did see Brock getting hit by that gadget, and another one thrown out and makes the connection as well. So just one more follow-up shot, and he would have gone down, but Squeak just can't seem to find it. Ryohei backing him up bit by bit, though, constantly just keeping this ammo down and just keeping the Brock back. It's really, really punishing if he steps out of line, but Levi and Stampo not able to do too much either. And a connection, oh, that's lovely. 2 gadgets. One from Ryohei, one from Kuru, and they find the first kill.
And that's what I'm talking about with Squeak. It was 4,000 damage, shredded through him, and then just a slow Evil Spirit gadget coming in from Kuru to follow through. Now it's a 3v1. Bell knows it's over, going to go into the fog, and Navi will take round number 1.
Well, that was very convincing from Navi. I'm not sure how many shots we can see we even still connect from Zeta Division, so it can't be that close to supers either, really. Whereas we see Ryohei and Kuru having pull and the Squeak super, so that's dangerous things to be playing up against. Stampo does make a rotation over to the right-hand side lane that wants to play up against Ryohei, and might give Suzuki more of a chance against the Grey as well.
Ryohei's been playing pretty fearless for a Squeak. I mean, it's not the easiest thing to play, especially into the range of something like a Bell, a Gus, and a Brock, but he's holding his own really well, and he's a huge contributor for the amount of damage that they've got. Now he's got a super in his back pocket, too. Good news for Bell is if this team clusters up together, the bounce shot can kind of deter the extra magical puffs and the heals that you get from that. So I think this could work out. Zeta Division finally showing some signs of life, and maybe pushing Navi back in their spawn.
Great taps from Stamp on this right-hand side. A really good rotation for him to make. The gadget comes out of Suzuki with that rocket fuel and just makes a connection with the Sharpie, but it'll be nice and healed up before that happens. TP comes in, should be a trade here if Gus can get this one, and he does. Stampo looking for the killing blow. Good shield, but somehow turns around and gets the tap on someone else. I thought he was going to be spamming auto-aim, but he might be able to win this one, and does. Brilliant from Shitampo. I would have been absolutely decimating the auto-aim button, but he turned back and got the other kill.
in Gus's last breath, he threw down the shield, and it was just enough to keep Chitampo alive in that pool, and then the big dog tapped. I mean, just so clutch. Years of this guy cementing his legacy in the mechanics that he has, and this time was no exception.
Brilliant stuff from Zeta Division as a whole, and as you say, that shield as well, just incredible. Chitampo getting some good taps and a mark onto Ryohei as well. But the magic hand is here, along with the hypercharge to go with it, so that can be very dangerous for multiple members of the Zeta Division roster. But Ryohei's so low, brought down to one shot, has to back up and heal. That is going to be so annoying for the late game to have that mark on him.
Chitampo's kind of finding the confidence here too. He started tapping more and more as this set has progressed. The choppy left hand in, still dealing with Suzuki. Levi in the mid, just has so much range as a Gus. If he continues to build up those extra ghosts, the extra super, it can make a huge difference. The taps going through, Zeta Division get the pinch. Now Kuru, hypercharge out of desperation. A little poke damage onto all the members, but the gadgets and shots go through. Zeta Division just dominating right now. And Choppy will dive in, give himself up, and move on to the second game.
I mean, that was such a good turnaround from Zeta Division, to be honest. Really nice stuff. The first round went so heavily Navi's way, and then just that one change, moving Chitampo over to the right-hand side, made the biggest of differences. It was just crazy.
Just terrifying. I mean, honestly, just the head case of dealing with somebody like Chitampo, they've already got a decent draft. I mean, I like what Navi are putting down, but a solid brawler in the meta right now in this guy's hands, and there's just something to be said for years of hard work, winning, and just having this big brand name. People fear him across the world for good reason, and time again, he just shows why.
Gadget thrown out, not going to find any connections this time though, so a little bit unfortunate for Ryohei. He's been doing a pretty good job of getting those the majority of the time, but he falls really low there, gets hit by both the Gus and the Brock just a few times, but Zeta Division went over aggress. Try and get a little bit of a break in there for Suzuki. Shot thrown behind him and a shot thrown in front of him as well, but it is Zeta who are firmly in control of the map.
The summit's going to be Bell on this left-hand side, battling a Choppy, a previous teammate from 2021. And this is going to be a duel for sure, but the marker on a Choppy, which as you said earlier, it gets really frustrating towards those in-games because it's just extra damage. It's a quicker takedown, which is one reason why Bell shows so much here.
Fury has the ball now, wants to try and use it. Suzuki gets hit pretty hard there and will be focused down. Is going to fall, but the super makes the connection beforehand. And these, like, beyond the grave things that are going on with the Gus shield and the Brock super getting kills are just wild. And they're going in favor of Zeta Division so heavily.
It's just so calculated. Every decision and shot has a purpose. And the fact that they're getting so much value, even from the graveyard, is insane to me. Hypercharge left-hand in Chitampo, now marching up the map alongside Levi. He has a super if needed, so if they take some damage, he's got a quick way to preserve some teammates' lives. Ryo, he's just running for the hills, though. He's marked up, he's on the back lines, and now Squeak is really dealing with the long range that he doesn't love to see.
Choppy getting hit so hard now, being forced to run away, and 32 HP before those magic buffs kick in, and the rocket fuel down the right hand side will break up a bit of grass and stop Choppy from really being able to fly under the radar. Ryohei so low, marked on the left hand side as well, and a shield is available for Levi. And obviously just going to try hold it for the later seconds, try use it in a similar fashion to last time, but Choppy goes down without even using that TP.
Oh, and now the hypercharge raining in. Kuru diving forward. Nowhere to walk, nowhere to run. Zeta Division showing off the mechanics here in our first set.
Incredible stuff, really, from Zeta Division. Like, they started at such a weak point as well, and it's just so crazy how the tiniest amount of difference, just moving Chitampo to a different lane, makes a massive difference to the game overall. Just him moving there literally won them the set.
We did praise the mechanics before from Zeta Division, now also, again, adaptation. They adapted very well to what Navi had to show up against them, adapted with switching lanes to the tempo, being on the better side this time around, and they did, after all, arrive with momentum on their side. They just come out of a win, a 3-0 sweep against Crazy Raccoon, so they're showing up just as strong now in this grand final, especially Chitampo here with 7 kills on the belt. He makes this brawler look like it's top tier in the meta.
Just insane. I mean, just reflecting on these highlights, you've said it a lot tonight, Sonny, and it's just adapting. And it's such an important in that opening round. I mean, Navi had in my head, maybe this team's legit, maybe it's just their month, and then Zeta Division just close out with several straight rounds. This red roster just looking insane here. Suzuka with a hypercharge reigning in, the positioning's good, the shot's good, and honestly, the several gust bubbles that came in from the grave was a big factor too. Just everybody contributing. The drafts have been solid. This is just one thing that I think East Asia in the past has gotten a lot of criticism for, and it's one thing that Zeta Division have done particularly well against their own region.
Well, you'd think if Navi can beat the number 1 seed in their region, reject, they can also beat the number 2 seed, which is Zeta Division. It looked like that just now. Zeta Division really has the momentum coming out of that match against Crazy Raccoon. Now heading into Ring of Fire. Now, this is another very open map here. I wouldn't be too surprised to see another Bell from the side of Zeta Division here. They showed up a lot with Bell and also Meeple Hank against Crazy Raccoon before. I feel like Hank is gonna have any say in this map. We have seen him often last month banned out or picked up. Now this month, I'm not too sure here, Trev.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. Meeple's going to be banned out, so we won't be seeing any of her. But Chester comes down as the first pick from Navi, so I don't mind that at all. It's been one of the more versatile brawlers today, and they do ban along with the Meeple, the Stu, and the Charlie. And over the Zeta Division side, Ollie, B, and Lumi. 3 very good bans, possibly the 3 best brawlers on this map, so considering they don't have the first pick, they kind of have to get those out of the way and stop Navi from getting something as strong as that. But yeah, I like what you said. I think the Bell is something that they could kind of gravitate towards because they've been playing it non-stop today, and it really is working so well.
Blue and B, a couple brawlers I think show up normally in this map. Bell kind of in that mix too of you want something with control, has that range, and just good overall, and I think that's one reason Bell shows up here. I feel like Bell has leaned on a little bit more this meta than somebody like Lou. I feel like Lou has taken a tumble a little bit, even in a mode like this where he can be very solid. His ice freak can cover the entire ground. Just doesn't feel like pros are prioritizing him as much. Another brawler here that I'm kind of interested to see what happens. I don't necessarily think into a Bell and a Buster it's a good call, but this region in particular has used Bo and Chester. Those are the 2 brawlers I noted that they used a lot. So we'll see if that goes through here. Again, I don't necessarily think it's a great call into something like a Bell and Buster at this point, but just a general brawler that I've seen in particularly.
Yeah, we'll see what Navi do come down with then as this time hits 0. The pick should be coming in very shortly. It's going to be a Byron. Just choosing to go the healing route, and obviously I have the sharpshooter capabilities, so it's not a bad thing to have. Going to be able to go toe-to-toe against Bell for the most part, and also heal the other brawlers that they're bringing in. They might go something a bit more aggressive to pair with the Byron, so they can really make use of that long-range healing ability that the Byron has. And obviously, otherwise you'd just be taking something like a Pogo, really, if you wanted a short-range burst. But it's going to be the Hank. We see it for him. Eventually, it comes down to the 3rd and final, so I like this from Navi. The Byron-Hank composition should be very solid.
That's a good 1-2 punch, and then they have Chester there to kind of help out. Lou, I feel like it's a pretty good answer, though. At least into Hank. You got the range to keep up with somebody like Chester. Don't get me wrong, you really have to hit your shots, but they can kind of feed off of this Hank. If Lou properly lanes up against the Hank, keep him at bay, freeze him out of those shots, slow him down from getting any bubbles, and then the ice rink, like I mentioned earlier, is just such a good deterrent and to keep people out of that hot zone, let your team in, get a little repositioning. So I definitely see the value in that pick.
Yeah, well, it's going to be a difficult one for Zeta Division to come out on top of here because that Hank is going to be very dangerous. But they have some range they can play and kind of keep him off during that. But obviously, Buzz is going to have a bit of an issue. Going to have to get close to the Hank, and within that bubble range, Tampa will just be playing on the right-hand side rather than through the mid, attempting to keep a choppy back whilst we get Buzz to shield up and run.
They're going to be getting those mistakes down too, and the sooner they can get in there, the sooner Levi can start dropping that and gain them even more control. Suzuka just holding back. All he has to do is pop this super, and sure, they can drop a Byron soon, but other than that, it's going to be allowing Levi to kind of get to this mid, but Kuru is tapping right now. That's some clutch takedowns there. Shatampo's still standing, and now just going to be dancing around this Byron. Not enough, though. Kuru on the money.
I mean, that is unreal for Kuru. I'm not sure how many shots he's missed at all. I don't think I could count them because they're just so few. Lou coming in now wants to try and get a Charpe off the table. And nice little slow-mo replay pulls him in there and resets that little bubble. Stampo in a tough position there now. The super and hypercharge being popped by Suki. Does manage to pick up a Charpe there along with the Mark. Ryohei gets tapped and Kuru can't find the heals, so he will go down. They do have a 16% lead, but Navi have been playing so well. I wouldn't be surprised if they managed to take this.
Kuru's really keeping his team in this. I mean, honestly, this could be much more devastating for them if he didn't grab all these kills. Now they have a Choppy with the hypercharge left-hand dent. And Kuru, not even necessarily fully playing the support baller. He's just making taps right now. Easy connection there for Levi due to the hypercharge, and he's dancing around this mid, trying to stay up. 451 finally melts down. And Kuru getting confident. There's that super from Buster, and anytime you see projectile brawlers on the other end, it's a little tough, but Kuru with perfect patience eliminates him, wait for that super shield to go down, and allows his teammate back in the mid.
Great taps from Levi there. Out comes the hypercharge, and only finds one connection onto Levi. Stampo going to be wanting to look for a super here, and does get provided a hypercharge along with it as well. Catches the Charpe right on the edge, and Kuru went for a gadget to try and keep his teammate alive and also bring some of the opponents low. Now Zeta Division have established themselves on this zone. Shield goes up as he doesn't get knocked back by that hypercharge. Ryohei get pulled in, but not killed, as some good heals from Kuru still lingered.
This guy has been a problem this set. The heals, the damage, all around good performance. The one thing they're lacking is a lead. They found a way to keep Buster in this. Shatampo has been able to push them off, and even though Kuru is staying alive, surviving, keeping his teammates in the mix, it's just not enough to get any time in possession.
Kuru moving forwards now. Hypercharge used by Levi. Should be able to use this super as well. Does get it just in time, but a Charpe holding firm. It is now even in the mid. A Charpe is going to get killed, though. Ryohei shouldn't be far behind as he is very low. Shatampo not able to find that shot yet. Levi sliding onto the zone. 23 seconds. This might come down to time if we don't get on the zone soon enough.
Not often we see that, but it's 15 on the clock, and Navi have to get this lead. It's so close right now. The ice rink goes down. Achapi pops a super just to stay up. Suzuku, hypercharge. Achapi Ryohei holding on. It's 1% being the separator, and Kuru finally forced away. Zeta Division closed out at 100 in the final seconds.
I mean, that was incredible. Kuru is playing unreal. The heals he's provided, and that's splashing there beautifully as well. You saw the slow-mo replay come in. Buster drags them both in. They get frozen, but the splash is on top of it as well. Unfortunately, Navi didn't get the win because I feel like they did deserve it in that set. They seem to be in more control, but Zeta Division standing on the zone for longer periods of time, it seems.
Just some good brawl stars all around. And the opening set didn't necessarily feel that way outside of the opening round, but right now, both of these teams are battling. Navi, the past couple months, have been nothing than maybe more than a semifinals team. I know they're fourth in the region, but they really haven't had a grand finals appearance or a big marquee victory until this month. And now they're dueling with this region's best so far. Zeta Division well on their way to a second grand finals, but Navi certainly doing what they can to contend.
Yeah, I mean, Navi have just been consistently decent all year long, whereas Zeta Division have been at the pinnacle of this region. Charpe is so low, almost gets frozen just about now. Suzuki's going to start to move in, maybe be able to bring down a Charpe here, but the shield is there. Super goes off as well, will be frozen a second time and brought to his knees eventually. Kuru trying to get some shots through the back. Nice kills there as well. Splashed him, so he's playing so well. Gets Suzuki low and resets that healing.
Needs his teammates to step up too, though. He's been phenomenal to support role and a little hybrid of damage in there too. But Ryohei outranged by this Lu and this Bell. It's not the easiest matchup, especially when you face down a Buster shield.
Tough to make the moves into the mid there, but he's just hitting every single shot. Gadget made the connection as well. Suzuki will go for the slow-mo replay, but burns down before he can find the move around the corner. Another few taps, and Levi will fall as well. Shatampo going to take the time on the mid, and they just keep on cycling this out, and that's why they're getting so much percent. Shatampo comes in with his hypercharge, eventually going to get Kuru down. It's been a while since he's been back in the spawn as well. Charpe should be falling, just about got his super in time, but didn't manage to get it off. Hypercharge coming into the mid, Suzuki gets affected by it as well, gets a slow-mo replay and brings Kuru low, but can't get a kill. Ryohei clean up top, and now Navi are in control.
They didn't bring any of the three Navi brawlers down. Achapi had gone down before, but Ryohei and Kuru survived. A super going down, another kill, and Kuru immediately follows it up with a shot onto the other edge. Shatampo now going to have to stay up. It's going to come down to one final fight again, Trev.
Well, we see this super coming in with a hypercharge from Suzuki. He gets the kill, but we do see a lead for Navi. Levi needs to find some taps onto Kuru and then manage to get the pinch onto a Charpe, but Shatampo will go for it himself. Charpe not finding the connection there. Now, even in percentage, 86, and the Charpe getting pinched. Heal comes through Ryohei and the mark is missed. Suzuki dragged back. Slow-mo replay will get the kill. 93 to 90, the Charpe goes in. Freeze from Shatampo, though, and two of them still live. Kuru moving in, but he'll go down as well. And 99 to 100 as Zeta take the set.
Oh, Kuru did absolutely everything in his power. Maybe a half second away from keeping that set for them. And nonetheless, Zeta Division find a way. So close in that set. That's one of the closer sets I think we've seen all year.
I mean, both sets were really, really close. Round number 1 as well, 10 seconds left on the clock, and it was still an even playground, an even number on that counter. Now the second one, yeah, as you mentioned, probably the closest one we casted all year long, and still Zeta Division takes it 2-0 in the end. It's just crazy how they managed to win again and again and again. it's very interesting to me that this time around Hank is going to be picked up by Navi instead of Zeta Division. They really tried to make it this new signature brawler of the East Asian region after Shade last month, but it didn't really bring them any luck. It really seems like it's only good in the hands of Zeta, Trev.
Yeah, I mean, one kill is all that he got, and that was brilliant from Kuru there, almost keeping his team in the mix. They got dragged in, they got frozen, but the splash on top and the heals, he really tried to keep him in, but yeah, first game I think it was about 4% in it, second game 99 to 100. I mean, you've got to feel for Navi, as good as Zeta are playing. I just feel like Navi were in control of the majority of the game, but not stepping on the point. It's harder for Kuru to make the move towards the zone than it is for the Bell on the other side, so I feel like that's really the decision maker in that set.
Feels like to me so far Zeta Division has always set the trend in this region. Last month it was the Shade, now it's kind of Hank. I wonder, and I'm eager to see if they also manage to do so on the global stage. Since they now made it into Brawl Cup, can they also surprise teams from other regions with such a pick here, Kenny?
They're certainly looking scary. I mean, I think that's safe to say. You know, they're one set away from 2 state grand finals. Crazy Raccoon are a team that are very respected across the world, and they just swept them off their feet. And I think if I'm looking at this team right now, I'm taking notes and I'm feeling nervous. I mean, Zeta Division look like real contenders, not just in this region, but globally too.
Well, it's going to be a bit of a tough one for Navi to come back. There is still a chance. They need 3 in a row against the reigning champions. It's going to be a very, very tough one to make happen, but Zeta Division, there are going to be some holes in the game. If Navi can find them, then they will be able to exploit them, but it's going to be really hard. 3 sets in a row is not an easy task against any team, never mind this Zeta roster.
I do feel like Super Beach could be one of those maps now where you can pick up a Hank again, maybe this time around on the side of Zeta Division. Charlie Stu, he have been played here before in this region, Barry Ashley on the other side. But I feel like we have kind of seen the same brawlers all day long, really. There are just some that are very strong at current meta. It's potentially the last set already. If Zeta Division wins this one, it's over, and they have rushed through today with 3 3-0s in a row. It's kind of time to see a Lumi, you know? Last chance, potentially.
Yeah, Lumi might not show today, I'm going to be honest. I think in the van stage, Super Beach, we're scratching that one off the list immediately. I think Ollie is in the contention for this van stage as well. B probably too. I think those are kind of the 3 on the top of my mind.
Yeah, I mean, it would make a lot of sense to get those out of the way. They do seem like the stronger brawlers at the moment. As I said before, I really like a thrower on this map, and you know, we've seen throwers work pretty well for the most part across the majority of the day, but Bali is going to be banned out, same as last time, and also B and Frank on that side by Navi. Over the other side, the Ollie, B and Lumi are going to be banned out, so sadly, if Zeta Division win this one, we won't be seeing any Lumi, and even if they don't, I've got a strong feeling that Lumi will be banned out for the remaining 2 sets regardless.
Yeah,
so
I guess you're right.
Probably won't be seeing that, I imagine, but the first pick is Navi, so we'll see what they do choose to take. Still some very strong brawlers left, and I was going to say Carl, honestly, left on the table, but Hank is going to be the first pick again, and it is Navi who go for it once more.
I can't believe he's showing it. I mean, I knew he was going to be a thing. I didn't know he was going to be the thing in this region. I feel like him and Charlie have certainly been highlights for me today, especially after a nerf too. You know, I was pretty concerned that it might be devastating enough to bring him really out of the mix and just be an occasional, maybe a circumstantial or map pick. No, Trav, he's the first overall pick here for Navi in a set where if they lose, it is over. It's over.
Yeah, I mean, Chester, good first pick. Ash to follow up as well. I do not mind that at all. 2 very good shouts from Zeta Division, and I like the way this draft is shaping up for them. Chester, obviously, with the hypercharge, has been such a nasty piece of work to deal with. The immediate nerf to it, pretty much, was very much warranted. Obviously, in terms of how fast he can get it. Ash can still get his very fast, don't get me wrong. But a little bit of a less influential hypercharge, still very good in terms of that kind of raw stat boost as well. A few more rats to come along with it. If they don't have a brawler to deal with the rats, then it can be very, very annoying. Charlie will come in, and it's another one of those brawlers who's been around a surprising amount for me today.
Yeah, I mean, two brawlers that have shown up quite a bit. And again, I was kind of tipped off just based on practices leading up that these two brawlers would be a thing. But again, just their play rate has been way higher than I would have anticipated. I feel like they almost need a mid. I mean, maybe Charlie's that for them. In Super Beach, the mid is pretty close quartered. It's more of a medium range, not necessarily some sharpshooter kind of range, which is why I think B shows up a lot here in history. Max has shown up a bunch as a mid. Shade, wow, okay. We're just going to commit to every East Asia brawler that's popped off in the past 2 months or so from Navi. Maybe that's the play. Maybe we just pick the brawlers that everybody's winning with and we go with that.
I mean, that usually seems to work, to be honest with you. Shade is a very dangerous ball to be playing up against. It's honestly a good job they didn't leave for State Division. I'm not sure if it's kind of there in the mindset of, okay, we really want Shade, or if it's just we need to stop State from getting that brawler. They go with a Jackie, so they have some kind of level of being able to fight inside those walls against the Shade. So I don't mind this pick from State Division, and we've seen a lot of Jackie and Brawl Ball league, surprisingly.
The double tank on the right-hand end. We have a Charlie on the left. We have Shade playing some Assassin and then a Hank. I mean, what a world we live in 2025, folks. Navi putting a lot of faith in these brawlers that have worked some, especially for State Division in the past 2 months. Then a Jackie on the other end. And it's going to be a Choppy taking on Shitampo here. 2 previous world champions. And Shitampo, oh, he gets it through just in the nick of time. 9 seconds and a goal already for the red side.
I mean, that was maybe a little bit too fast for Navi's liking, because they're going to have to fight back pretty... Well, they've got a while to do it, but they're getting absolutely decimated. Suzuki trying to get a goal of his own now as well. Uses the chill pill to stay alive. Shitampo's just going to go for it. Honestly, I thought he was just going to commit and go for a hypercharge super there, but he is going to be coming back out of this right next to Ryohei, but they clean him up nice and quickly looking for him. Levi's going to use the heal and keep himself in a good position to maybe try and deal with a Charpy, but he gets the super off just in time.
Buys himself maybe a second, but not much here. A pass forward, Shitampo able to intercept, taking some damage. Just doesn't have the range to keep up here. So unless Shitampo's really pressed up against these walls, maybe fighting something like a Shade or just a Choppy trying to encroach, it's not going to be very easy to play this brawler.
Yeah, Rats will take him down, reset the other two as well. So low, Suzuki powering through a Choppy. Having to use hypercharge now to try to stay in the mix. Shitampo should be waiting for this pass, but he goes for the goal anyway. Levi ignores the pass and the run from Shitampo and puts them on match point.
I mean, these fellas putting on a highlight reel, Trav. Something about Brawl Ball these past 2 months for these guys, it's just clicking. Even with an unorthodox pick, and like you mentioned, in Brawl Ball League, Jackie's shown up a good bit, but just a brawler in the BSC that we're not used to seeing every day, and they get a goal in the first 9 seconds, get another flashy bucket down the line, and Suzuki once again winning his lane. 3v2, now down to 2v2, a Choppy, low HP, and Shitampo has a super available. He's going to be looking for the pull, and it's just enough, he punches it through! 3 straight buckets for Seda.
I mean, brilliance from Zeta, looking to go on the perfect 9-0 day. Shitampo trying to stop Ryohei from going forward here. Should be able to get the kill. Pull back. Kuru and Ryohei both so low. They can't aggress. And the Charpy doesn't want to go it alone. Suzuki will go for this now, and the Charpy pretty low. Super available for Levi, and this is something that Suzuki should win, and does with his hypercharge. Now moving on to Kuru. Should be able to pass this one straight through, and that's going to be everyone going down. 1 goal is all Zeta needed, and they get it. And they're the multi-final champions for April.
State Division, stand alone at the top of East Asia. The only team to take 2 grand finals, and now they set their sight on the Brawl Cup and the rest of the world. They have instilled fear not only in this region, but for everybody watching. They're going to be ready for Dallas.
Back in with the sunglasses as well. Last time they're going to do the same thing, same celebration as last time, and honestly another deserved win for Zeta Division. They're going to be the champions. They're going to Dallas to fight out there at the Brawl Cup. A huge month for them, and pretty much secured everything they want to secure.
They listened to their heart with their draft, and it worked out once again. Sorry for that. They doubled down, not only making it to Brawl Cup, but also winning their 2nd monthly final in a row. Congratulations to Zeta Division once again. And as you said, not a single set dropped along the way. In fact, they only dropped a single game, and that to Nemo. Crazy day, honestly. Like, yeah, basically unbeaten all day long, Kenny.
4 goals to 0. 3-0. I mean, Navi had a few moments, I would say, that Second is easily one of the most competitive I've seen all year long. Outside of that, I mean, pretty smooth sailing for Zeta Division. Sure, Achapi's the one highlighted in purple, but it's safe to say the bold pick from Shitampo and the Jackie, Suzuku winning his lane early, Levi just having hypercharges ready to go. These fellas are firing. Something special right now, and I think easily considered to be, for at least me, one of the better teams on the entire planet right now.
They truly seem to be at the top of the world right now. As you mentioned, Kennedy only wants to have 1-2 monthly finals in a row right now. Let's see if the other regions can follow up with that as well. And also joining Revenant X-Spark and Toxic Lotus in the Brawl Cup. So great success for them all month long so far. Let's see if it's going to be just as good for them next month when they are playing on the global stage, Trev.
Yeah, I mean, I think Zeta Division is a huge one to look out for. You know, the East Asia region, looking at Worlds, looking at some competitions in LCQ, you know, the postseason, East Asia is not what they were, or at least in 2024 they weren't. So I think Zeta Division is a good look at what we should be expecting in 2025 because they are really, really good, and I think East Asia might be back as a region.
I mean, it would also be the fourth Zeta Division title if they manage to make it to World Finals and win that as well. Just putting it out there. For now, let's get Ark back in here. There were 3 of you, right? So let's bring him here. And Ark, I'm sure you followed that grand final as well. Not one to miss, I'm sure. Did you expect a 3-0?
No, I did not expect a 3-0 to be completely honest. I was putting the pub in the garden, but nonetheless I had it on my phone the whole time, and that hot zone set, honestly, that was probably my favourite moment of the weekend in this region for sure. I mean, just a very unexpected day, let's be honest. I mean, you know, the first month of Reject didn't make a grand finals for Crazy Raccoon versus Zeta, for it to be so one-sided, did not see that coming at all. You know, some things were kind of a little bit more certain in my mind. I'm looking at you, Genji. But nonetheless, it was a very exciting month and definitely has made my sort of myself rethink this region somewhat and moving forwards after Brawl Cup where we could be standing.
I've just realised as well that I've only casted sweeps today. I'm not sure if it's something going on with me, but
You're the problem.
they really wanted me to have a nice, fast cast today. They wanted me to reserve my voice. Thank you so much, guys. Shout out to Reject, shout out to Zeta Division, Crazy Raccoon. All you guys are getting it done fast because my voice is, you know, it's feeling nice and smooth and buttery today. Zeta Division going to be on 161 though. Reject 132, 121 for Crazy Raccoon, 117 for Navi. So still pretty built up in that third to second to fourth spots, I should say, but not much movement around the bottom side, to be honest with you, other than effort result dropping down that little bit more.
Effort result didn't even make it into monthly final. They're still standing strong, though. They're still standing in that top 8. And as you mentioned, those 2 spots at the top here for the World Finals. Looks like Zeta Division and Reject are going to take those 2. There's still a lot of months to come, though. There's still the Brawl Talk coming up as well. And with that, we get 1 more additional slot for the World Finals and 2 more slots for LCQ if you make it to first, second, or third place there. So Brawl Cup is going to be very important here, and Zeta Division is going to be that team that East Asia sends to win for them, Kenny.
It's a pretty good representative right now, too. I mean, again, I'm really impressed with the composure, the drafting, the mechanics. Maybe it's a region thing, I don't know, but we'll see how this region tests against the remainder of the world, because there's some good teams out there. EMEA is a deep region. Tribe Gaming at the top of NA is a problem. I just want to see how everybody stacks up, and I think this is going to make things even more interesting, and honestly, I think, especially after seeing today, this is definitely the best candidate they could send.
It's really been a day here, Ark. Let's go down the line here. Any final thoughts to close the day out here?
As always, fantastic lovely finals. I'm really looking forward to seeing, you know, like teams like Rival Esports coming into the forefront after the Brawl Cup. I mean, heck, even like Niwa. I think that they've got some real potential here today, which didn't shine through in the scoreline, but certainly in the mechanics and just maybe with a bit more experience. I think they can take on some of those Titans. But East Asia is always a joy, and you know, congratulations, of course, to Zeta Division. Cannot wait to see what they bring to the Brawl Cup.
Kenny?
I mean, honestly, a great day overall. I had Zeta Division winning before this started, just not in the fashion that they did. And now I think when coming into the future months, not just Brawl Cup, but East Asia, Reject, Crazy Raccoon, they're going to have to sit with this for well over a month before the next monthly finals shows up. They have to accept the fact that they were not good enough. That Zeta division is in a tier of their own right now. They're going to have to watch them compete in the Brawl Cup. They're going to have to cheer them on because they want the World Finals LCQ spots. But nonetheless, that's a hard thing. How are they going to adjust in the second half?
Yeah, I don't know what else to say. These guys have pretty much covered everything I was going to say as well. But yeah, it's been a very, very good day for East Asia. And, you know, Zeta Division once again have proved that they are the best team in this region. And as Kenny said, I don't think, you know, East Asia could be sending a better representative at the current moment because Zeta Division have just walked through this region with ease.
Yeah, what a day of Brawl Stars it's been, and what a statement from Zeta Division. A 3-0 versus Crazy Raccoon and the 3-0 versus Navi. No one really saw that one coming, but Zeta made it look clinical. They'll be packing their bags for Dallas, and if today's performance is anything to go by, they're going to arrive there with momentum. We're not done yet, though. Tomorrow we're going to continue with EMEA. There are 2 more slots we can give away in that region for the Brawl Cup, and you won't want to miss it. Catch you then, and as always, thanks for watching.